Strong does finally. The Warren gives him no space. Oh, sideways. Very, very sideways. A very good evening to you wherever you're watching around the country or indeed the world, and thank you for bearing with us. We're a little bit late today getting our broadcast underway because we have been having a few technical dramas, so our apologies for that. We are trying to work through them today, so you may well just need to bear with us, but we'll try our best in the meantime to be as entertaining as possible and informative as possible in the meantime. My name's Stairs. It is my pleasure to welcome Madbird to the commentary box alongside me.
Thank you very much. My very first time at Townsville for a commentary. It's always just somehow landed on me being sick or in another country or not available to commentate. And I don't think I've even I'm not a supercars fan, so I don't think I've ever even seen a race around here. So this is going to be a very interesting night for me and very much looking forward to it. We've got a pretty decent grid of 24 cars in the server at the moment. Of course, a bit of a different scenario this time around. No Super 2 race last night. Rather, they've done a sort of pre-qualifying for the main race tonight.
Yeah, huge field here as a result. So it seems like whatever they've done has worked. Let's just quickly look at the points before we get some pictures from the track. Madbird, do you want to run us through the drivers' points?
Yeah, Kurt Stenberg with a 300-point lead over Zach Baker in second place, with Benjamin Daly in third, Brody Steen in fourth, Colin Warwick in fifth, back again tonight after being off last race. Luke Rosella in sixth, Sean Allen in seventh. Not a good season so far for the RaceOnOz team. RSM Latino in eighth, Benjamin Nedich in ninth, and Steve Warwick, father of the now returned Colin Warwick, down in 10th place. Stairs.
Yes, good to see Colin Warwick back having a steer, to use his terminology tonight. Well, to use a lot of the supercar fan terminology. Looking at the team's points there, ZBRacing taking over the lead from RaceOnOz at the top there.
Yeah, good little tussle there between ZBRacing and RaceOnOz, who've had the lead so far this season. Trans-Tasman Racing in third, with Black Shores Racing, the sister team for RaceOnOz. Synergy Sim Racing, the second Black Shores team. All Australian races, Mist Apex and Mute Sim Sports rounding out the top 10 for the teams.
Quick look at the racetrack before we show you the last minute or so of qualifying. Here is the 2.85 kilometre street circuit here in Townsville, with the first few corners there. Now, I sort of neglected to put turn 4 in there, but that's just as well, because Madbird, you don't believe that is a real corner.
Nah, I don't like it. I have controversial opinions about corners, but I don't think this is one of them. Turn 4 really isn't one. And I think we'll be able to prove that when we get some onboards during our shootout, because of course we have missed most of qualifying due to our dramas, but we will have all of the 15 minutes of the top 10 shootout that is to follow.
Man on the bubble right now is Dane Liccardo. He's currently in 10th. We are determining right now the top 10 for the top 10 shootout. So this is the biggest qualifying session in an ASC race that I can remember for deciding a top 10 shootout. Usually we only have 2 or 3 cars to knock out. Tonight, we are going to knock out 14 cars.
That is a busy looking track map on the rsmclanau.liveraces.com live timing. There is not much free space out there to find. This is the busiest I've seen a track in ASC for quite some time. I'm very excited.
It's pretty good to see. Actually, let's have a look at Benjamin Daly. He's just about to finish a lap here. He's currently in 11th, trying to vault himself up into the top 10. So let's see what he can do as he comes to the line. For him, it is 7th place, so he finds himself into the top 10, knocking Dane Liccardo into 11th place and putting Termo, the man, in danger.
Yeah, I've only got 30 seconds left in this qualifying session. Lewis Wedding has just jumped himself up into 10th place, so he has taken that position away from Termo, the danger zone. and he is now into the top 10 shootout, but only by the very skin of his teeth.
And Termo's got no response because he's on a slow lap, and
Look how many cars there are
remaining. He's trying to find some sort of gap there, but he's out. There's nothing more that Termo can do to get himself in. We now look to see who else is on a lap who can possibly vault themselves up into the... Oh, it's not going to be David Nenovich. He's just had a spin in the final sector, so he's going to stay 13th where he is. And who else have we got that we can look at? RSM Latino doesn't look like he's set any purple sectors. Campbell Logan just coming through the final corner. Quite a few blank liveries at the moment because of all of these wildcard entries. Lots of names that we haven't seen this year. Fantastic to see. Can Campbell Logan do it? He does a PB, but it is not enough to get him up into 15th.
Brody Steen, sorry, managed to jump up into 10th place. So
knocking Lewis Wedding out.
Unfortunate for Lewis, but very fortunate for Brody Steen. Although Brody Steen has just been knocked out as well. Lachlan Burke now in 10th place. So who is it? Dane Liccardo has jumped up into 6th place.
Yeah, I thought he looked a bit out of place there down as far as he was. So good job from Dane Liccardo to find himself a little bit further up.
And I think Nathan Higginson might still be on a lap. Looks like Thomas Hatching just came through to set the 20th fastest lap time.
We've got in 23rd place Rhodey. Good to see Rhodey in there. So
hey,
he'll be hard-pressed to find himself on the Rhodium tonight, given the strength of this field. Luke Rosella at the top there, 2.5 tenths. We haven't really talked about the top three, but these three at the top, in Luke Rosella, Kurt Stenberg, and Colin Warwick, are the ones that we are used to seeing that far up.
We are indeed, along with names that we're not familiar with, Damon Woods, Corey, and Kobe Williams in 8th place.
Oops.
So we've got pretty much an even mix of regulars and names that I'm probably going to stumble over in the top 10 going into the shootout.
Goodness me, that was a bit of a whirlwind, wasn't it? Selecting the top 10. So Luke Rosella, Kurt Stenberg, Colin Warwick, Damon Woods, a newcomer who has been racing in ASR recently, Corey, Dane Liccardo, Zach Baker, Kobe Williams, Lachlan Burke, and Brody Steen. That's your top 10. We're going to see them in a moment, taking to the track in what is going to be a far less busy track than the one that we just saw them on.
Yes. Only one car on, well, 2 cars on the track at maximum at any one time, which is quite different to 24.
Yes.
It is 12 times less.
Appreciate that.
12 times less?
Hang on.
It is 12
again?
It is
12 cars less.
No. 2 what is 2 compared to 24? I mean, I know it's 22 less, but 2 times 12 is 24. So what would never mind. You know what?
I didn't have a lot of time for maths when I was at school.
Me neither. I left it as soon as I could.
I do acknowledge its importance in the worlds that we live in, but I also do acknowledge that my teacher, when she told me
a 12th
that I would not have a calculator in my pocket when I'm doing my grocery shopping, was evidently wrong.
A liar.
You know, not too many prophecies come more wrong than that.
I mean, the Casio calculator watches existed, before our time. So I feel like that was the height of hubris to assume that there would never be another way of carrying a calculator with you.
Yes, I think it was just a way for.
Thank you, Hans.
To
who reached the conclusion.
1/12 of the total.
1/12 of the total field. Thank you very much, Hans. I will. When I had my interview for my high school, which was, I won't say fancy, but it was a private school, let's say.
You got interviewed? They just let me in.
Nah, yeah. I mean, it's a public school. They kind of have to, don't they?
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
they loved me because I didn't start fights or smoke weed behind the.
You were the Ducks
behind the shed.
But
that just means you showed up.
You are listening to Ducks of the high school that Alistair went to.
Not not really an accolade worth mentioning. But anyway, thank you for bringing that up.
When I went into my interview for my high school, I had one question. No, sorry, I had 2 questions. Those questions were, when can I ditch maths? Like, when is the last required maths year? And the second one was, when can I leave school? So, I
didn't know that you were so eager to leave school when you were in.
I think I was very eager to seem like I was.
Okay, that would make you popular.
Yeah, maybe it didn't work.
Not something that no one's listening as far as your peers.
Oh yeah, I know.
When you're having interviews for
and yet they let me into the school. So
I just remember you getting in trouble all the time in school.
At primary school, I definitely did, because I remember my mum being overjoyed when I went to high school and she wasn't getting a call like every week. Anyway.
We have got to shoot. Just an addendum to viewers who might not be aware, Madbird and I did go to the same school when we were in our primary years.
Same kindergarten as well.
So we do have a bit of a shared history in that respect.
Don't we just? Like an old married couple.
So Lachlan Burke here, first in this top 10 shootout to set a lap. So all eyes turn to him. This is where the pressure starts to mount. And a street circuit just amps up that pressure to 11.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure, as you just said.
There is a lot of pressure.
There is a lot of pressure. Thanks, Crofty. There's a lot of pressure to keep it out of the walls at the best of times, but especially around a tight track with walls hemmed in on all sides. So
the first corner here, which is basically a flat-out right-hand kink, and slamming on the brakes into 2.
We're very soon going to see turn 4, which doesn't exist. It gets very, very close there.
Although
on the exit of turn 2.
there isn't a corner.
No, this isn't a corner, no.
Yes, but...
This is.
I'll
accept this.
And that's deep.
That's very deep.
And he nearly spears it onto the wall. Very lucky to hold on to that.
That's not a corner.
But apparently that's not a corner. Well, that's a corner, but the other one isn't. So,
yep.
I don't know. There is a threshold at one point. Through 6, very, very wide onto that curb, but... doesn't appear as though the game is punishing that from a track extending point of view. And then into this final part of the sector, which reminds me a little bit of Adelaide with sort of purpose-built area with the grass parklands. Very close to the wall. They're deep into the turn 11 hairpin there.
He's not covered himself with glory on this lap. He has covered himself in an excellent livery, but regardless...
Yes, all Australian races there for Lachlan Burke. Let's see what the time is, because, I mean, he's going to be ahead of anyone who doesn't set a lap, and we mention this every shootout. The benchmark to beat a 1:14.189 for Lachlan Burke.
Yeah, so there's that trade-off of, you got to set a bank a lap, but also if you push it a little bit too hard, then you only get the one chance, and if you balk it, then you've messed up your entire qualifying position. So
can't be balking it.
Can't be balking it.
Just can't be balking it.
You just can't be balking it.
So, former Victorian Formula 4 champion, current Super, what do they call them? 86 series driver, Benjamin Dahlia. We like to mention that whenever there's someone who has real life experience in our series. Great to see him doing very well for RaceOnOz at the moment.
It is. He's doing better than the main RaceOnOz team. Sean Allen and Brody Steen. Sean Allen not here tonight. He did mention he was going to go on a bit of a break. Perhaps.
And that's going to be curtains for their challenge against RaceOnOz unless they're allowed to...
ZBRacing.
They are RaceOnOz, yes. I mean ZBRacing, who have taken over the lead of the team's championships, and RaceOnOz have always prided themselves on beating ZBRacing in the first 2 championships, teams championships. So one wonders whether RaceOnOz will be allowed to recruit one of their young gun satellite drivers in Alex Cattle or Benjamin Dahlia to the main team to help accrue some points and keep that fight alive between RaceOnOz and ZB.
Yeah, because Brody Steen's just going to sort of be... He's going to be outgunned.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing we see with Trans-Tasman Racing with Kurt Stenberg, unable to really put on a fight for the team's championships because his teammate is absent most of the time.
And when he does show up, he decides to start from the back of the grid.
1:11.5, that's a good lap there from Benjamin Dahlia.
Sort of highlights the mistakes that Lachlan Burke made on his lap, because it was... It's quite a big difference.
There's a fair bit of pressure when you're on these laps.
There is.
Very much so.
Lots and lots of pressure.
Heaps of it. So we now turn our attention to Zach Baker, who's starting his lap. Well, he's starting it soon. He hasn't done it yet.
He's beginning to consider starting his lap.
He's in the end of his out lap, which is the lap before
the start of the end of the lap.
That's the end of the out lap, and that's the start of the flying lap. So let's see what he can do. So far he hasn't made any mistakes, but that's because he's 4 seconds into a straight. Into turn 1 and turn 2, slams the anchors on. not using all the track available to him on the left-hand side. Likes to carry the speed. Uses a fair bit of the track available to him on the exit of the corner, however. This is where we saw Lachlan Burke start to make a hash of his lap all over the grass there. Zach Baker's a 10th down.
Yeah, he's just off the pace, just a tiny bit, as he comes through turns 5 and 6, and then down this back straight towards the last major complex of corners. 7, 8, and then around into 9, still just under a 10th down on Benjamin Dahlia's time. Coming down towards the last couple of corners, almost an extended hairpin this. Got turn 11 and turn 12, but turn 12 sort of follows the racing line as you come out of turn 11. Oop. We've got a little bit of a freeze up, but we're all good as he comes through the actual hairpin of turn 13, unlucky for some. And down to cross the line, and it's a 1:11.2. He's jumped himself up ahead of Benjamin Dahlia by 0.3 of a second, so gained the thick end of 0.4 in that last sector, Zach Baker.
So we're now going to turn our attention to Dane Liccardo, the 4th man to set a lap time. He'll be racing for Evolution Racing Team. He was earlier in the year racing for the All-Australian Races team. And hi to everyone in the live chat. Great to have you along. Question from Bullseye 101. What's the normal time for these guys around this track? Well, we have seen a 1:10 set in the qualifying session and practice session before this shootout. So we have yet to see in the shootout a faster time than that. So sort of late, high 1:10s. So Zach Baker's pretty close to the mark there, but of course, I get the feeling a few of them might have been holding their cards a little bit closer to their chest.
Absolutely. As Dane Liccardo coming through on his flying lap. I haven't seen Dane Liccardo for a little while. He's been out the last couple of rounds, so it's good to see him back out there again.
He had that very famous crash in the first round at Bathurst.
Yes. Where Michael Zalavari had nothing he could say in defence of him.
I think in some of the races subsequently that he's been in, he's redeemed himself for that. So credit where credit's due to Dane Liccardo. This has been a very good lap from him so far.
Bit of scrape on the wall there, coming out of turn 10.
Yeah, bit of scrapage.
Bit of scrapage, but didn't look like it cost him too much.
So what's the timing screen going to show for Dane Liccardo as he comes to the line to finish his shootout lap? It's 3rd place, 0.8 down on Zach Baker.
Not great.
He would have been hoping for more, I'm sure. We turn our attention now to Corey in the Privateer 94 car, a livery that I don't believe I've seen this year. So good to see some of the Privateers getting to run non-blank liveries. It certainly helps us out as commentators.
Bow repairs.
Thank you.
That's what it says.
I'm hoping I'll get a free tyre
on the side of that car.
Rotation and balancing as a result of that.
Well, hopefully they'll patch my tyre for me.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
You had a flat, I hear.
I did yesterday.
And what was the outcome?
I've not done anything about it yet. I've put the spare on. Or I had the lovely man from the RAA put the spare on for me, because I do not have a jack.
That was a bit of an oversight.
Yeah, we've got 3 cars at the moment between myself and Mum, and there's no jacks between them.
Right.
Yeah, so I might go to you, pull it on the weekend.
The reason RAA makes... I don't know.
No, well, the reason I've got roadside assistance is because prior to this car, which has been incredibly reliable, I had 2 late 80s Mazda 929s, which were, by all accounts, bombs.
You loved them.
And I did love them, but I was calling the RAA every other week, so...
There's no way to live.
No, definitely not.
This is getting quick from Corey. He was half a tenth up through the first sector. He's now 2/10 up, so Zach Baker's time not looking safe, and Corey is very much looking like he might be the first driver in this shootout to dip into the 110s, Madbird.
Yeah, it's been a very clean lap, despite the fact that we've been talking crap over it the entire time.
Yes, I thought I'd better pay attention since it is demanding our respect.
No, fair enough. As he comes through the last corner, nice and tight to the apex and picks up the throttle. Doesn't go too wide on the exit, keeps it on the black stuff and across the line and very nearly into the 210s.
He was only 300ths up in the end, so all that time that he had through the second sector, he's lost it somewhere. And it's still provisional pole, but not by anywhere near as much as we thought he might. So, well, good job from Corey. He threw it out on the line, and now we turn our attention to Damon Woods, who races Formula Fords in real life. We're assured by Mr. Walshy73.
So maybe a compatriot of Benjamin Dahlia been brought in.
Well, we've seen him doing some racing in the Automobilistas. Sorry, I meant to say
Australasian Sim Racing
Championship, because they've branched out from just Automobilista. Our friends over there, formerly Automobilista Australia, AMS Oz for short. Started by the one and only Brock Harvey, who, if he's watching, g'day, g'day.
G'day, g'day, Brock.
So Damon Woods up by nearly a tenth of a second here through the first sector, looking very good from him so far. Another good livery I'm liking seeing there.
I was literally about to say. It's very Port Power coloured. I appreciate that.
Anything with teal, black and white you're again fond of. So this is ebbing and flowing. Damon Wood has dropped half a tenth now through the second sector. So we saw that Corey had a weak final sector, so this could be on for young and old in this final sector, to use a bit of a scaife-ism.
Scaife-ism!
I'm looking forward to Bathurst so much.
He comes into the last corner. Very, very tight line there on the exit. Probably could have run a little bit wider than he did, but still fast enough to take first by almost a tenth of a second. So very, very solid lap time there from Damon Woods.
Now someone has just dropped out the server. Their time has disappeared. I'm just trying to remember who that was, because we've had 6 runners, and I believe there's only 5 times. Corey. So I'm trying to remember. He was third. No, sorry, he was first. He was the guy before. So someone is eclipsed from provisional pole, and we immediately forget about them. Now, Kobe Williams apparently didn't get the memo until just now that he was meant to be doing his outlap. So
pit lane wanker.
Not quite as far through his outlap as he might have hoped. So good job, Kobe Williams. There's another different livery there, one to acquaint ourselves with the green on it.
Kobe Williams, I imagine it's just because of the Kobe, but I keep thinking of like an African-American basketballer.
Because of Bryant.
Yeah, Kobe Bryant, but also I feel like there's another famous basketballer whose surname is Williams, so it's like a combination of the two.
I'll be honest, the extent of my basketball knowledge comes from
the dance
Netflix series, The Last
Dance. Isn't it excellent?
Yes.
I've never been interested in basketball in my life.
It's amazing how a documentary can make almost any topic interesting to
right? Well, it's what got me into Formula One.
Well, yeah. All of these Netflix fans, it's good to have them in, but I think their expectations of Formula One are skewed by watching Drive to Survive.
Mercedes know they need to win the championship.
Cool. I hope so.
Cool Boy asks, when is the F1 series?
God, I'd love to call it an F1 series.
I did a couple of...
If it was competitive.
Was it with you? I did a couple of back when it was AMS Oz, they had the F1...
They sort of started one series, but I think the barrier for the cars, they were doing a 1997 mod.
Yes.
And a lot of people were struggling.
They were quite difficult cars.
I did the first race with Bagsy, commentated that race. There were, I don't know, they probably started with 8 or 9 cars, and over the course of the race, all but 2 of them crashed into the wall, and those cars, they had damage. Lewis Wedding, bless him, didn't see. Oh! Has spun it on the infield and interrupted my anecdote. So Kobe Williams is probably going to be behind Lachlan Burke, given that's going to cost more than 3 seconds.
Your anecdote. You put the emphasis on the wrong parts of the sentences. Very good. Yeah, that was very messy from Kobe, just coming through turn. I think that was turn 6.
No, he's a bit further through the lap than that.
Turn 7.
Turn 9.
And then a messy run through the final hairpin as well. Well and truly at the back of the pack, but he still finished the lap. Good on him, because if someone gets a track cut and does not set a lap time at all, they will still be behind Mr. Kobe Williams. So we turn our attention to our co-admin, Colin Warwick.
Fantastic to see Colin back behind the wheel.
Very good.
Missed the last round because of heart surgery.
Yes.
So good to see him, as you say, having a steer. He's absolutely keen to be back, and our best wishes to his speedy convalescence. It's been a few weeks. But,
Speedy convalescence, because he's driving a car very fast.
He was nice enough to have a bit of a chat with us during the broadcast, Madbird, you may remember.
I do remember, from his hospital bed.
To update us on his situation. So, yes, it was, by all accounts, a bit of a scary moment, but thank goodness that they were able to catch the issue that required fixing and have thusly fixed it. And he has lost none of his speed. He's a 10th up on Woods.
Absolutely.
Woods, I should say.
Do you think he'll have a problem with me saying, he might be having a heart attack if he has an error at some stage? Do you think that'd be too soon? Or do you think he'd see the funny side of that?
I don't think Colin is fazed by anything.
I very much agree with you. That was Han's fault. Gave Kobe the kiss of death there when he said, unlike Kobe Williams is still alive.
Oh, well, he's not anymore.
No, his lap at the very least is well and truly dead. You've just missed my co-commentator in the box doing the shooting for basketball hoop. I was going to say animation.
Oh,
gesture.
Colin Warwick's lost it all in the final sector. He was up, so that just goes to show how quick some of these blokes have been going in the final sector. We thought he was on for a 110 maybe, but he's instead going to start, well, either third or fourth. We have to see where Corey fits into that, because he's dropped out of the server after finishing his lap, and he was in provisional pole before Damon Woods. So, well, actually, having said that, and
we've still got Kurt Stenberg.
The logic of me saying that has realised that that Corey would have been ahead of Zach Baker, and therefore Colin Warwick will start fourth, assuming that Corey can get back into the server before the end of the qualifying session. We do have Kurt Stenberg, the current championship leader. He's donning the orange 47 as a result. And the 47 has been a lot luckier for him than the number 1 was last year when he was the defending champion and almost nothing went right for him.
Absolutely. So he's very glad to be rid of that number 1. But he is currently number 1 as he comes through turn 3. Number 1 in the standings, but not number 1 in qualifying. Luke Rosella managed to nick pole position. So see if Kurt Stenberg is able to redress that here in the shootout.
I have it on good authority that Damon Woods used to babysit Campbell Logan's dog. Campbell Logan joining us in the live chat. So there's some interesting information there. Kurt Stenberg up by 800ths of a tenth. 800ths of a tenth? 800ths of a second on the provisional pole time, and rubbing the wall at every opportunity. Kurt Stenberg absolutely at one with his TTR machine right now.
What would 800ths of a tenth be? Would that be 8,000ths? I'm trying to put the decimals in my mind, but
we've definitely...
Oh!
Bit of a slide job coming out of the final corner. Has that cost him? Is there an invoice to pay? There is an invoice to pay. And he is quarter of a second up, so none of them can do anything about this final sector. No. That is...
He's going to want to keep that receipt and see if he can go to the ombudsman about that one, get a complete refund and a gift card to match. And it looks as if Luke Rosella
didn't get the memo
either. Is yet another pit lane wanker and has only just left the pit lane, so we've got a little bit more time to kill. But my goodness, what a messy qualifying for Kurt Stenberg. 5th fastest at the moment.
Kurt Stenberg as well. It was only that final corner where he lost it all, because he was up until the second sector split, and he absolutely laid 11s on the exit of the final corner, turn 13 there, and just could not get the power down.
Campbell Logan just confirming that Damon Woods used to feed me dogs petrol. So that's
good.
Or is the dog's name Petrol?
I can imagine a dog being called Petrol.
Petrol sounds like the name. It sounds like a staffy. Like that's a peak staffy name.
Hans B saying dropping heaters in the toilet.
I think that was in relation to Roadies Racing saying Hans not even racing and still dropping some heaters.
Well, I don't know. I feel like Kurt Stenberg dropped his heater in the toilet that one.
I'm not sure if it was meant to be. But Bullseye 101 saying, "Oh, Stenny," made me think of Bruce McAvaney.
Oh, Juddy.
Oh, Juddy.
He loved Chris Judd.
He did.
For those younger viewers who might not remember Chris Judd, a former Carlton star. It wasn't that long ago. What was it, 5 years when he retired?
Yeah, I reckon.
Luke Rosella. He has been the young up-and-coming star that we've seen this year. starting to take it to Kurt Stenberg. Got the odd win here or there. Still Kurt Stenberg dominating the season, but Luke Rosella is a man on the rise. Let's see what he can do in this shootout lap.
Yeah, he was fastest in qualifying.
Delicious.
Oh, very messy. That was not delicious.
10th up, though.
It was a 10th up, but I think that was before he went off the track.
Ooh.
So it remains to be seen if he will have paid for that by the time he gets to the next sector split. It's coming up to it now, and he has dropped
paid for it.
Just a little.
But he's still got a very good chance because he's only 2.5 hundredths of a second away from that provisional pole time for what is proving to be quite an elusive Damon Woods. We haven't seen anyone drop inside the 10s. I was thinking for sure by now we'd see at least one of the cars do a 10.
Everyone must be keeping just that little bit in hand because it's the one lap that you get. It was a very clean exit out of the last corner, and it was good enough.
He's done it!
He's done it, and he's flashing the lights. Oh, and he's disqualified.
Unbelievable. That is a great end to a shootout lap. A good end to a shootout to see a change at the end. Commiserations, of course, to Damon Woods, who misses out by 7 hundredths of a second, but that is just what an extraordinary finish to that shootout. Great job from Luke Rosella. Kurt Stenberg, by Jove, he's got his work cut out for him.
Yeah, down in 6th place, 5th place at the moment, obviously, but Corey did get back in, but then dropped back out again, so I'm not sure what's happening there, but...
Yeah, so Corey, where do we reckon he'll be?
He was third
between
fastest.
Damon Woods and Zach Baker. So what an interesting mixed up grid we've got here.
Yeah, not the usual suspects. Well, Luke Rosella's the usual suspect, but Damon Woods and Corey out of nowhere. And Colin Warwick and Kurt Stenberg only good for 4th and 5th, or 5th and 6th once Corey gets back in. So very, very interesting front couple of rows of the grid stairs.
Absolutely. Well, that's got my appetite whet, very much so, for the races to come. So Luke Rosella will start from pole position with Damon Woods alongside him. Behind him, occupying the second row of the grid, will be Zach Baker and Colin Warwick. Kurt Stenberg and Benjamin Dahlia will start from row 3 ahead of Dane Liccardo, Lachlan Burke, and we've got Kobe Williams and... I beg your pardon. I've completely neglected to remember that Corey was part of that. So
Corey would have been in third.
Anyone below third, just bump them one row in that order. We'll go through it when they do their warm-up lap, man.
Won't we just?
But let's quickly just update you on the race that we're going to get underway for race number 1. It will be a 44-lap race, and there's 2 compulsory pit stops for that race. And they'll have to take those between laps 1 and 42, which is quite a large pit window.
It's a very large pit window.
God, imagine getting 43 laps into a 44-lap race and remembering that you needed to make another pit stop. That would have been...
I remember some Formula 1, Cody's Formula 1 races back in the day where our friend Zirus would forget that he needed 2 different...
I love those races.
2 different compounds of tyres. And he'd... you'd get onto the last lap and you'd go, oh crap, I've only run primes. So you'd have to duck into the pits for a set of options.
And then people would look at the results and like, oh wow, Stairs, you beat Xerus by 30 seconds. That's unbelievable. It's like, I actually beat him by 1 second. But then he made an extra pit stop.
But it looks good. Damon Woods just saying, could have been poled. Dang, that was very close.
Very close.
So I would not be too upset about it. And you're on the front row, so, see what happens into turn 1.
Good to see Scott Nolan in the chat with message retracted.
Yeah, very good input, Scott.
Appreciate that. He's done a few races in this series for Synergy Sim Racing. Good to see him watching along.
Very good. I reckon I saw his most recent message retracted, and it was a mistype of some description, because it said only 9 runners didn't hit the 9 runners or something. It was gibberish.
Maybe
and I looked at it and squinted, and in the time that I was squinting at it, it disappeared.
Maybe he's still drafting that message out.
Maybe he is.
He has acknowledged that we have acknowledged him by writing the word cheers.
I'm glad that I've drawn attention to his abortion of a sentence.
We appreciate that, cheers. Well, I absolutely support his right to retract his message if he...
I just hired the best, says Scott Nolan. Very good.
But yeah, it's great to have everyone joining along in the live chat. We're still waiting for race 1 to begin. We do have the calendar that we will just show you briefly, but we will put that with a little bit of an asterisk next to it, that this is very much subject to change. We believe that in addition to the rounds that are on that screen there, we'll be going back to Townsville next week for a sprint race in line with the news from the Real Life Supercars Championship. That's to be confirmed, of course, completely subject to change as a result of the very precarious COVID situation. There's a good chance that Sydney Super Sprint in real life is not going to go ahead in August as planned as a result of the worsening situation over there. But touch wood, we can get on top of it. Touch wood, we can get Winton underway next week. Goodness gracious me. Not next week, next month. I've been waiting for it for quite some time, Madbird.
I think we both have. We've been we've been mentioning Winton for a few months, I reckon.
Yeah. That we have.
And because we keep talking about how the drivers don't like it, but we rather enjoy watching it. So
Madbird has just shown me a meme on his phone of someone saying to I think it's Ralph Wiggum over the New South Wales public saying, Mrs. Berejiklian, the COVID numbers are rising, and her face Berejiklian over Homer's face going, yeah, they'll do that.
Oh, I'm incredibly sorry for anyone that has to live in New South Wales at the moment.
Yes, well, we do know that we've got a few runners, not at least of which our friend Colin Warwick operating out of Sydney, so that's a situation that is not too good for them. So we hope that we can bring everyone in lockdown a bit of joy as we're awaiting race number 1. I got one ahead of myself there.
It feels backwards because race number 1 is 44 laps and then race number 2 is 22 laps. So
that's not the way they normally do it.
We've got the feature and then the sprint,
and we normally have the shootout for race 2, not race 1.
Yeah, so we've sort of got the main show up front, and then we've got a little play time afterwards.
So we'll just take that calendar off the screen since we're pretty sure it's going to change. But just so that you can put those other dates in, so hopefully those dates that are a bit further into the future are going to stay put. We're very much looking forward to that Bathurst weekend on October 23 to 24.
Goodness me,
Friday,
yes.
Saturday. It gets bigger and better every year, Madbird.
It does. We outdo ourselves if we say so ourselves.
Well, we've also, in addition to, ramping up the production value of our broadcast, we also tend to have amazing finishes, even if there's only a few cars. We really are hoping that we'll get a bigger grid this year. That'll be fantastic.
Yes.
So if you're interested in signing up for that one, please do, because we'd love to have you guys able to do that.
And if you're sitting there thinking, I'd like to do it, but I'm not quick enough, I'm not going to blah blah blah. It's like, well, last time how many cars do we have finished? 3,
something
4.
Like that. Yeah.
So if you don't have to be quick.
Ben Rhodes nearly got to the end.
Exactly.
3/4 of the way doing the race completely by himself. So
who else? RSM Latino, I think, did it solo.
I think he did that the year before. And he managed to find himself a teammate for 2020.
Found a friend.
I'm sure he's got plenty.
Hopefully
Urjit Mishra can do it again, because he decided to... This is a guy who races out of the Philippines. I believe he's now relocated to India. But
I'm not sure if that'd be better or worse.
Well, I don't know. But anyway, the storms in the Philippines always knocked out his internet connection. He was having appalling luck when he raced in the AMS Oz. It was still called AMS Oz last year, so that's still strictly speaking correct. They did their Bathurst 500 and he disconnected on the first 2 laps or so. And then he was lucky enough that the race was red flagged due to various issues, and so he got to start again and then disconnected again on lap 2. So we thought, we'll do the ASC one, which was a week later, and the same thing happened to him again. So it just wasn't
a damn shame.
Wasn't meant to be at all for our good friend Urjit Mishra. So let's quickly just go through the circuit details again there, man.
Yep, so we've got turn 1, followed by turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, which doesn't exist, which goes into turn 5, which you will see on your screen in just a moment.
Oh yeah.
There we go, turn 5, turn 6. So when you look at these numbers from turn 5 onwards, just imagine they're one number less, because that's what they should be. Turn 10, 11, 12, and 13. 13, a very unlucky number to end the track on, so I think, yeah, take out turn 4, and then that's turn 12. That's much nicer all around. And looks a little bit like a weird ergonomic lounger from a one angle.
Weird ergonomic lounger. You heard it yourself here,
The weird
folks.
ergonomic lounger 250.
Good gracious me. So Luke Rosella is going to start this 44-lap race from pole position. Great job for the Synergy Sim Racing number 55. And we wait to see whether he can convert this into a race win to add to his tally so far this year. Damon Woods, in his first race with ASC, he starts on the front row. That's a tremendous debut for Evolution Racing. And so we've got number 55 and number 56 on the front row. That's rather pleasing. Moving on, we've got Corey McFarlane, who has jumped out of the shootout to update his name, apparently, because he was only referred to as Corey in the shootout.
We now have a surname.
Good job for adding the surname, and he starts ahead of Zach Baker for Zach Baker in the number 512, one of our regular top performers. Colin Warwick in his return after missing the Hidden Valley round will start at 5th place ahead of Kurt Stenberg, the championship leader. Then we've got Benjamin Dahlia in 7th, Dane Liccardo in 8th, as I start to rush through this because I realise they're getting towards the end of the lap and this is a bigger field than we're used to. Lachlan Burke inside the top 10, ahead of Kobe Williams, who had that spin that we saw at the end of his shootout lap. Brody Steen was the first to miss out on the top 10 shootout. He starts out of 11th place there in the number 13. Lewis Wedding for Ultimate 9 Racing starts 12th ahead of Termo. Then we've got David Nenadich for ZBRacing in 14th. RSM Latino appears to have not made the start, and if he can get it going, he will be starting from the pit lane, but so far hasn't driven out of it, so that's a bit of an unfortunate situation there. Campbell Logan, who has had his dog house-sitted by the man on the second row, on the front row I should say, in second place, starts ahead of Tyron Wiseman. Then we've got Steve Warwick, father of Colin Warwick, Robbie Graham, Thomas Patching, Cameron Parrott, and Nathan Higginson. And Rhodey will round out our grid of 23 cars. No, Alex Cattle will round out our grid of 24 cars. I beg your pardon.
We are professionals here.
Well, I'm just not used to having so many cars on the grid, and I'm absolutely loving it, man. But the lights are on. We're about to go racing for the first time here. Off they go. It's a pretty even start, I reckon, from the front row. But I reckon Luke Rosella has just managed to edge him, as Damon Woods is actually coming under a bit of pressure there. Kurt Stenberg's had a bit of a good start, but Zach Baker's up the inside of him. Can he manage to make it through? It looks like Kurt Stenberg is going to drag race out of 2. There's been a bit of a crash there. We've got a safety car. Yellow flags are open. What is going on? Someone's been fed into the wall in the back of that shot.
Yep, that looked messy. That was a very, very good start from Luke Rosella. No issues there. Damon Woods with a bit of a messier start, which is how Kurt Stenberg managed to get the jump on him. But yes, so we had a safety car before they had finished feeding through turn 2, and then as we came out of turn 2, we saw another car get pole-axed over and into the wall, and I think Stez has got a replay of that one.
Yeah, so I think it was Benjamin Dahlia who's the unfortunate guy who's dropped 12 positions. Had that collision there with the Evolution car of Dane Liccardo. Oh, that's a messy one.
That is a messy one. We just had in the chat as well, Hans B saying Lewis punted again, and then and Scott Nolan saying Lewis no.
Lewis Wedding is down 4 spots, so let's just get another replay from on board with Benjamin Dahlia to see if we can start to piece together what happened here.
Oh, just
Dane
squeezed.
Liccardo a little bit into the side, and then it looks like everyone got on the brakes really early there. Kobe Williams involved as well. Oh, that's disastrous. And we've got some cars. We've got actually quite a few front runners in the pit lane right now. So at the moment, I can see status thing on their live timing.
We're back under green flag.
That's quick.
So that was a very, very short safety car. So we're already running green again. So the leaders have come into the pits, come back out again.
And this counts as their first compulsory pit stop.
It is showing a solid yellow, but does that just mean that it's a yellow flag?
Well, it was flashing before, which generally means there's a safety car, but perhaps that has been recalled at some point. So
it looks as if it certainly doesn't look as if they're going at a. Oh, we have penalties. One for Campbell Logan.
Well, we didn't see what happened there, so good gracious me.
So cue the Benny Hill theme, says Mr. Walshy. So Lewis got hit going through turn 1, saying Scott Nolan. That's what brought out the initial safety car.
Yeah, and then that other collision that we saw 2 replays of was separate. So I'm just looking. So we saw Luke Rosella and Kurt Stenberg came into the pits. We also had Corey. I'm just trying to think who didn't come into the pits really, because that's probably the bigger question.
Oh no, they must be under safety car. There's an enormous train of cars.
RSM Latino has stopped somewhere between turns 12.
RSM Latino never started, so
that makes sense.
He was in the pits.
So while they're touring around at reduced speed, we want to see if we can catch up with what happened to Lewis Wedding at turn 1 on the opening lap there. But that's always the danger with a bigger field, is there's a lot more cars that you're not used to racing. So this is probably part of the teething issues of having a bit bigger grid.
Cool. Looks like David Nanadich.
Yeah, so we're just going to see if we can catch the replay here. So he's just in the middle, number 9. You can
actually that black
from that shot.
The black wildcard car looks like it collected David Nanadich, which sent him into Lewis Wedding. So bit of an awkward accident. The safety car is on track. Yes, Daniel Cox.
Yes, it is.
Can confirm. My hysteria thinking that there was the safety car had already come in was unfounded.
You were right. The lap counter was showing green, which was
maybe it was just
confusing
to the end of the lap for some reason.
So while that's happening, we're just trying to dig up the vision, because it's not quite clear what happened. But definitely Lewis Wedding copped a punt up the rear, and we're just trying to figure out who it was that did that. There were at least a couple of cars involved. I can see David Nenadich was involved in some way, which he always seems to find himself in the middle of these. It happens when you qualify not quite as high as you normally do. And we're going to see an onboard now from David Nenadich's point of view as he's coming through. Yeah, he copped a punt which sent him into the back of Lewis Wedding, so it wasn't David Nenadich.
So it looks like it was that black wildcard car, the Mustang, which is now tootling around at the back of the grid, I believe.
Is it Logan, maybe?
It may have been Logan, in which case he may well have something to answer for.
Alright, so we're going to see now the onboard from Logan's point of view.
That's a lot of cars.
Melee.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was trying to go up the inside, but the gap wasn't actually big enough. So
that's messy.
That is messy. I think it's hard to defend him there. I think he might find himself with a bit of a penalty, unfortunately. Well, he's found himself at the back of the grid anyway, so he'll obviously have damage to repair. And as a result, we've got those guys right at the back. Colin Warwick at the back as well, so goodness me, it's a little bit hard to keep up with, isn't it?
It is indeed. So we've got our pole sitter Luke Rosella down in 15th place with Kurt Stenberg and Damon Woods. So the top 3 drivers have all hit already.
They came in, and that was not for damage, I believe.
No, that appeared to be a strategy call.
Yeah, it's a little bit tricky sometimes with the pits. So leading the race is Zach Baker, who hasn't made a pit stop. I don't know if that helps you.
No,
we've got Benjamin Dahlia, Kobe Williams. He's up a long way from where he started in 10th place. And then we've got quite a few people who are starting in the back half of the field who've made their way into the top 10. Tyron Wiseman, Robbie Graham, Termo, and Higginson, Thomas Patching. But of course, that's all kind of out. It's all kind of out of sync, isn't it?
It's very out of sync.
Because they still have to make 2 more pit stops, whereas those who've made their first pit stop only have to make 1 more.
Just watching the train move around reminds me of when you'd mess with the cursor settings on your computer and you'd have the tail version of the cursor where it would trail behind an echo of itself. It's very pleasing.
So Campbell Logan's made 2 visits to the pit stop. Presumably one of those is for the penalty. So we did see he got the penalty. So the stewards were very quick on that.
There is the safety car.
The penalty was actually awarded in race. So
very good. So he has served.
He's already
his
served it.
Yeah.
Although is he allowed to serve it under safety car
yellow?
Is what I want to know. But it nonetheless has meant that he's at the back of the field.
Scott Nolan saying Damon Woods needs to give Cameron Logan or Campbell Logan some sim racing lessons when he goes over to look after his dog. And presumably not feed it petrol.
Just bear with me, my mouse has run out of batteries.
Oh no. Oh my goodness. Well, everything else has happened tonight, so, a battery running out is comparatively simple. So, man, Lewis can't catch a break. I can hear him blowing up from New Zealand, says Peter Thrower. So, Lewis Wedding is currently down in 18th place with Colin Warwick, so he's got esteemed company, even if he's down there. Cheer up, Sleepy Jean. Oh, what can it mean to a day-night believer? I don't remember the lyrics. I used to remember the lyrics. Oh well. While we're waiting for this safety car period, anyone that's watching, just make sure you hop on down there and give us a thumbs up, hit that like button, and hit subscribe as well. It does help us out an awful lot. And while you're at it, hop over onto Facebook and give us a like on Automobilista Supercars Championship and on Apex Rear Wing. We would graciously appreciate it. I've definitely been watching too much Kath and Kim. That Mustang safety car just leading the field a little bit, but I don't think it's coming in. Stairs nearly had an accident.
Nearly came a cropper there.
Nearly came a cropper as he flung himself across the back of my chair. Oh, it looks as if we might be starting again. They are backing up behind Zach Baker, who has inherited pole position, and Dane Liccardo going very aggressive there. You can see the safety car has come in.
So we're going to get a restart here as Zach Baker leads the field around with Dane Liccardo very much in tow. Look at Benjamin Dahlia, who's pulled out to try and get a bit of a jump on Dane Liccardo, and I reckon that might end up working out for him. As they come down to turn 1, Zach Baker's got an almighty lead because Dane Liccardo is having to defend from Benjamin Dahlia, who's trying to go around the outside into turn 2. They go side by side, watching brief behind Kobe Williams, and we've got another car spun around in the back of that shot. Who was that?
That was looked like they were pit maneuvered. Benjamin Dahlia up the inside at turn 2. Incredible job, turn 3 rather. Zach Baker just Max Verstappening the start and off into the distance, while these 3 are all over each other like stink on pigs. And Stairs just trying to find...
Oh, we got Campbell Logan's been fed into the fence there. Didn't quite see who caused that. That was happening just as I was trying to find the replay of who else was in the fence, but I don't know if we're going to be able to catch who that was just because so much is happening right now. Let's catch a replay of what happened to Campbell Logan. And we're not looking at the right car there, beg your pardon.
I did notice Campbell Logan was messaging in the live chat just before the restart, so perhaps it was a little bit distracted by Hans.
Going side by side there with Steve Warwick. I think
that was a little bit messy, bit of a pit maneuver there from Steve, and it looks as if Dane Liccardo has managed to take that second place back. Benjamin Dahlia's dropped down to 7th place, so I wonder what's happened there to Benjamin Dahlia. We might not be able to get a replay just because there's a lot happening. Oh, and a big swapper on. Therefore, I think that was Kobe Williams managing to hold on to it. So him and Benjamin Dahlia have tangled somewhere because they were 3rd and 4th, and they're now down into 5th and 6th, I think.
So here is the replay. Benjamin Dahlia going side by side there, and it was just into the back of him. Into the back of him came Kobe Williams, and they both lost number of positions as a result of that. You can see there the field absolutely pouncing on them. There's Kurt Stenberg in behind, And it's all sort of fallen apart for what was looking like a pretty healthy challenge at that point.
It was. We are 7 laps into this race, which it doesn't feel like we're 7 laps into this race because it's the second lap of racing that we've had.
Safety car tends to do that. And Zach Baker sets the fastest lap of the race at 1:12.154, looking very good, but he needs to make hay right now because well, those cars who made their first pit stop, they're the ones who are looking pretty. So look at Luke Rosella. He's in an absolutely stellar position with only one more pit stop to make to the end of this race. Running up there in 4th, there's Kurt Stenberg making a move up the inside of, who was that? Weitzman, I believe.
Damon Woods, meanwhile, down in 9th place, so he hasn't had the best start. Here he is on your screen. Never mind, he's gone. That's all good. So compared to Luke Rosella and Kurt Stenberg, who are up in 4th and 6th, respectively, Brody Steen doing a valiant job of holding off Kurt Stenberg at this stage. Damon Woods hasn't had the same high level of restart.
It just hasn't quite worked out for him, so he started alongside Luke Rosella in P2, but pretty much got it all to do. It's been a very, very messy start. If you tried to untangle all the threads of the stories of all these drivers, I think you would be left with nothing but a tangled mess of string, which is forever something that will be tangled and never untangled.
It's the Christmas lights that you just sort of, when you pulled them off the tree, it's like you could spend an extra 5 minutes and wrap them in a neat way where you know that it'll be easier for next year, but at the same time you're like, that's next year me's problem, and you just shove them in a box and you pull them out and you're like, oh my god.
When I was moving house recently, I encountered something like that. I just decided that the bin was the best place for that tangled mess of Christmas lights.
Yes. Christmas lights are overrated.
I think you addressed this Campbell watching the stream while driving from Hans B. I wonder if that's inside knowledge or if that's just Hans Brunswick trying to stir a few feathers.
Oh, that was just before the restart that he said thanks, Hans, in response to all of Hans B's messages.
Reactor meltdown at the Wedding nuclear power station. So a bit of side by side here between the two Evolution cars, and Damon Woods goes through on Weitzman
and gives Benjamin Dahlia a tiny little bit love tap just to go along with. And Benjamin Dahlia, that car is not handling particularly well. He was crabbing coming out of that last corner pretty significantly.
Kurt Stenberg is battling with Brody Steen over 4th place as Luke Rosella gets a bit further up the road. And Brody Steen doesn't make that one too difficult for Kurt Stenberg, goes up the inside, and Kurt Stenberg gets that job done.
Yeah, Brody Steen managed to hold him off for a couple of laps though, which has helped Luke Rosella out, who is now about 3 seconds up the road.
Damon Woods, sorry to cut across you there, fighting with Benjamin Dahlia there, who's getting mugged by the Evolution guys. You can see now there that Benjamin Dahlia is coming under a bit of pressure from Tyron Weitzman in that shot, so he nearly got done by 2 at once. He's managed to hold on just for the time being as Damon Woods tries to put a bit of distance. Oh, they're all over the track there.
I reckon there might be a little bit of lag for Benjamin Dahlia.
Potentially.
Because his car seems to be in place of the track where it probably shouldn't be.
Look at Colin Warwick. Oh. Colin Warwick looking speedy, making his way back up through the field after his first pit stop there. So good to see him showing a turn of speed. Back with Kurt Stenberg, who's had Brody Steen come back at him a little bit as a result of Kurt Stenberg being caught under the rear wing of Termo. So we're seeing this huge mismatch in speed because of the cars who pit and the cars who didn't pit, all sort of reshuffling themselves into their more natural order as Kurt Stenberg gets the job there on Termo.
Just ahead, Luke Rosella and Dane Liccardo having a side-to-side battle for that 2nd place, and Dane Liccardo not giving up on it, coming out of turn 3. Whoa. Still side by side, going through the chicane. That's messy, but very well done.
That's clean. That's not messy. That's unbelievably... well, I have to applaud Dane Liccardo for his improved wheel-to-wheel racecraft. As I say that, did he feed Dane? Did he feed Luke into the wall, or was that just Luke taking way too much speed into the corner and somehow having to hold on to it? This is incredible driving from the pair of them. Dane Liccardo trying to hold off the very speedy Luke Rosella, who's on a very hot run of form, coming off the back of victories. And Luke Rosella still hasn't got that job done. This is helping Kurt Stenberg come back at Luke Rosella.
Look how much closer he is. Kurt Stenberg was about 4 seconds behind a couple of laps ago, and now he is right there. The gap is visual, as Stairs would say. And Campbell Logan just saying his frames were buggered up for turn 1.
Yes, anyone in the live chat might not have seen that because it's just YouTube has automatically flagged that comment for review as a result of the F word. But Campbell Logan offering a defense there with the frame rate issues that probably as a result of there being 24 cars, you've really got to turn your settings down to help Automobilista with this many cars on the grid. And well, it might be the cause, but it's not any consolation, as Benjamin Dahlia has come into the pits, so he's serving his first pit stop at the moment. So he's very much out of sync, I think, with the rest of these guys.
Dane Liccardo, just the cork in the bottle, you feel here.
Zach Baker is absolutely making hay right now. He's doing the best thing that he can do for a good race result for himself.
Luke Rosella forced to go around the long way, but nothing doing. And then you can't really tuck up the inside for the for turn 12 either, because the racing line, there is only one racing line through there. Rain is growing heavier here in Adelaide.
Yes,
Can't wait to walk out to my car later.
Weather has been woolly in recent times in Adelaide. Let's hope that our stream can stay consistent. But so far, after what has been rather a whoa! Down the inside, Luke Rosella.
Oh, sold him a dummy.
And he's done an absolutely terrific job there. Absolutely parks it on the exit, so there's nothing that Dane Liccardo could do when he wanted to get on the throttle. All he could find himself with was a face full of Mustang. But it's not done yet if Luke Rosella can't drive away from Dane Liccardo. But Dane Liccardo is very much looking in his mirrors now as Kurt Stenberg is ready to pounce. And he wants to do this quickly so that Luke Rosella doesn't get too many car lengths ahead.
That was a little bit rude from Luke Rosella, but I kind of like it. He had to get it done. And he didn't make contact, just sort of very aggressively blocked the apex. And he's managed to get himself back up into that second place, and he can try to build a bit of a gap. And Dane Liccardo has shown over the last few laps he's very good at keeping a faster car behind him. So can he keep Kurt Stenberg behind him? That looked like it was going to be an overtake, but he managed to close the door.
It wasn't quite far up enough. He showed him a nose, and Dane Liccardo will be under no false pretense that Kurt Stenberg wants to get past as quickly as he possibly can. But nothing doing so far.
8 seconds the lead to Zach Baker out in front, so doing everything he can to try to extend out his advantage. If there's another safety car and he can have a cheap pit stop, then he's well back into this strategy battle.
Well then.
Wellity.
Haven't really seen much of our race leader. Here he is, all by his lonesome, 9 seconds ahead in first place. So that is quite a margin he's got as a result of this sort of cork in the bottle that you mentioned in Dane Liccardo. Luke Rosella free and clear has found himself about 1.3 seconds at this stage. So this is costing Kurt Stenberg every lap that he can't make the move on Dane Liccardo. Dane defending to the inside here. He is entitled to do. That'll be nothing but frustrating for Kurt Stenberg.
Very good defensive driving though from Dane Liccardo. I think Kurt Stenberg is going to have to do the same sort of thing.
Here he goes, down the inside, final corner. Absolutely forceful there. Good job. Just a little bit of door-to-door, nothing particularly untoward there. Kurt Stenberg finds his way through. Dane Liccardo will have a bit of a slipstream. So Kurt Stenberg may feel like he wants to cover the inside down at turn 2, but he doesn't. And Dane Liccardo is going to try and walk through the door. Kurt Stenberg trying to carry more speed around the outside, manages to do so. And I think maybe he's got the job done now.
Looks like it. And he does going into turn 3. So very well done there to Kurt Stenberg, and decent defending there from Dane Liccardo as well. So on the previous lap, Zach Baker in clear air, a 1:13.8. Luke Rosella now released a 1:12.7. So 1.1 seconds faster was Luke Rosella than Zach Baker on the last lap, which is significant, let's say.
So now we've got Brody Steen making his move. He's actually managed to do that pretty easily in comparison to the guys ahead of him. So perhaps the white flag beginning to emerge for Dane Liccardo. how much trouble is Colin Warwick going to have trying to get through. Damon Woods as well on his recovery trail actually goes into the pit, so he's trying for a bit of an undercut here, lap 15. So that's an interesting strategy there from Damon Woods.
This is in fact Dane Liccardo that we're looking at.
I beg your pardon, my
They both start with Dane and
they have the same livery.
yes, so I can understand the confusion. I was saying Dane Liccardo was beginning to show a striking resemblance to a particular picture that our friend Roadhog is a fan of a petite woman sitting on a couch surrounded by larger men with the rate at which he was being devoured by runners, but he has now stemmed that flow by pitting.
You're nothing if not esoteric, man.
Thank you. Colin Warwick.
It was not a compliment.
Colin Warwick up into 5th place from his start, which was 5th place.
Start.
Shut up. Your anecdote.
I apologize.
Nice racing there, says Bullseye 101. Absolutely agree. And Matt Cecil, I missed this, said, hit my driver and we'll have an Aiden Jackson / Casper Ackerman style fight. I'm not sure what that means. I'm assuming those are UFC people. Maybe.
I think Hans Brunswick knows exactly the picture you're talking about.
That is very humorous, Madbird, says Hans
He knows.
Brunswick. He knows what I'm talking
So
about.
Colin Warwick, and just as you know, some sort of just throw the idea out there. Let's talk about the race. I don't know, might be something worth doing.
My goodness.
Trying to work on the back of Brody Steen at the current moment in time.
He is gnawing away on the back of Brody Steen.
Yep. Gap between Luke Rosella and Colin Warwick, Luke Rosella and Kurt Stenberg is 2.6 seconds. I'll try and give you abreast of that.
6 seconds now, the gap between Luke Rosella and Zach Baker, so that's come down.
Come down in leaps and bounds.
That is well and truly coming down. So Zach Baker's going to have to make a decision soon on whether he hits and maintains a few seconds advantage, or if he tries to hold on to that lead and hopes for a safety car or something. As Steve Warwick gets a drive-through penalty,
It's a shame.
the father of the freshly returned Colin Warwick.
Worth noting that between Zach Baker and Luke Rosella, they are completely out of sync with strategy. Luke Rosella now actually assumes the lead because
Zach Baker has not made a pit stop. Oh, yeah, he has
made a
now.
pit stop, yeah.
Yes.
Well, yeah. So I was just mentioning that Zach Baker needs to make his first pit stop. Luke Rosella has already done that, and so this is now having the effect of cleansing the field from a strategic point of view, and we're starting to see the order a bit more representative of what we might expect at the end of this race.
Cleansing the field and our auras, our chakras are realigned.
Good grief.
Colin Warwick.
Whoa! There's no feng shui there.
There is very little feng shui as he tries to have a karmic rebalance with Brody Steen and is unable to do so.
What's got you all hot yoga right now?
I've got no idea. What a sentence. I quite like Hans B saying esoteric meme descriptions, which sounds like a Twitter account that I want to make.
I'm very much enjoying this battle between Colin Warwick and Brody Steen because they seem to be fairly matched. I think Colin Warwick is the faster of the two, but Brody Steen can more than hold his own against some of these guys. Luke Rosella is just starting. He's about to start his 19th lap, and so that will be one that he leads, and Stenberg 3 seconds.
That will be one that he leads. So Colin Warwick got a slipstream here behind Brody Steen. Might be able to shoot down the inside at turn 2. He's going to try to. Brody Steen going to try to go around the outside with a better run, but it looks like Colin Warwick's done a good job of closing the door. Although Brody Steen up alongside around the outside of turn 3. Does Colin Warwick force him wide just a little bit and manages to get that position done? So very well done to Colin Warwick. Brody Steen, who's freshly the only driver in the main RaceOnOz team.
Yeah, this is going to murder their points in the team championship.
Isn't it just?
Because, well, Zach Baker and David Nevich, even though at the moment they're not figuring fairly highly in the order, they are both going to accrue points, and that is potentially going to be more than even Brody Steen if he has a decent finish.
We missed the DNF of Thomas Patching on lap 11.
Bit of a shame for Patching. That's way too long ago for us to get the replay, so our apologies to Thomas Patching. Perhaps it might have been an incident he didn't want us to see anyway, so...
Very possibly.
By the way...
He's now annoyed that I've drawn attention to it.
You have drawn attention to it.
Drawn attention to it.
Let's have a bit... Oh, let's do what we always want to do. Have a bit of a stock take, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
Kurt, Luke Rosella.
Kurt Luke Rosella.
Sorry, force of habit. No! Luke Rosella out in front. He's actually stretching away just a little bit from Kurt Stenberg, so very much looking like he has the pace to win this race. Let's see what happens. Put a bookmark in that one. Luke Rosella. And Zach Baker sets the fastest lap of the race again.
Almost
he
fresh
already
tyres.
had the fastest lap, and he's improved upon that. So he's one to look out for. It's a shame that he's stuffed up his strategy. He missed that opportunity when they were under safety car to take his first pit stop. So Zach Baker has got some pace. Let's see how far he can recover up the field. So behind Kurt Stenberg is Colin Warwick. So Colin Warwick, having made that pass on Brody Steen in 3rd and 4th place. And we've got Damon Woods in behind. So just looking at their pace, Damon Woods is marginally quicker than Brody Steen. So that might be another position that
I just noticed Brody Steen's up 7 places from his start. Very good race so far from Brody Steen.
Not wrong. So then we've got Corey McFarlane, who started in 3rd place. He's down 3 spots. And he was only known as Corey during qualifying, like one of those sort of 90s boy band singers who only has one name.
Well, give me an example.
Sting?
Sting?
That's a little bit earlier than the 90s, isn't it?
And a boy band? Oh
well,
my goodness.
the Police had women in it, didn't it? I don't know.
Well, it's not a boy. I'd associate boy bands with Backstreet Boys and such. I think we just missed another fastest lap.
That was another fastest
from
lap
Zach Baker.
from Zach Baker, so it's all sort of... It's a shame he's off strategy with the rest of them. Lachlan Burke, he's in 7th place. He's up 2 spots, so good job from him. Look at Lewis Wedding here. He's, well, he's got it all to do trying to keep the man who's just set 2 subsequent fastest laps. Maybe we'll stick with this battle for a little while. Zach Baker is the fastest man on track right now, and he's got it all to do trying to make his way past Lewis Wedding. Good to see Lewis Wedding in this race.
It's very good to see Lewis Wedding, even if that car is a little bit hard on the eyes. We've got a drive-through penalty for Tyron Wiseman. Not sure what he's done.
Well, here we go. Up the inside there.
Lewis Wedding making that very easy for him, I
Lewis
think.
Wedding's actually not doing too bad considering he was fed into the fence on the first lap.
Yeah, that's a very good point, actually.
He's on strategy. He's had his first pit stop, probably as a result of the damage. Quickly cutting back here to Damon Woods and Brody Steen. Oh, not a lot of room given there. And they continue to race side by side. In behind them, with a watching brief, is... can't see who that is.
I think that is a lap runner.
It must be...
I think that might be a Campbell Logan, just based off of being a black
Cameron Logan.
Mustang.
No, it is Campbell Logan.
Campbell Logan. See, I said Cameron earlier and then corrected myself to Campbell.
You've ruined it for me.
And now
I've
I've sullied your brain.
You've sullied my brain. My brain is sullied.
Very sorry.
Too sullied.
Sully from Monsters Inc.
So, looks like Brody Steen doesn't really have an answer, and he's almost done. Actually,
he does have an answer, and that is I'm not pitting. And
exactly.
So Damon Woods with his 2nd pit stop, and Kurt Stenberg as well, and everyone. So Luke Rosella, Kurt Stenberg, Damon Woods, all coming in for their 2nd pit stops. Of course, 2 compulsory pit stops.
Early? This seems early.
This does seem early. I guess it's before the halfway point of the race.
Tyron Wiseman is serving his drive-through penalty by the looks of it because he's not come in to stop.
We do we have ×2 tyres on? I think we've got ×2 tyres on. In which case, Zach Baker might not be completely out of the running here, because if these guys have to then stop 3 times, including their free, in inverted commas, stop at the start because their tyres aren't lasting long enough.
Do you think that what you're saying there, Bert, is these pit stops are forced?
These very well might. Well, it just seems like an odd time to be coming into the pits.
Lewis Wedding's come in as well, and he was one of those guys who pit on lap 1. So maybe they're tyre limited. They made it to lap 23. They still have to go another 21 laps into this race. So,
and most of those laps were under, oh, not most of those laps, but 4 or 5 of those laps were under safety car. So you'd think that those tyres would be fine. So,
well, if they've made it this far since lap 1, they should be able to make it to the end if they're pitting now. So it should still work out for them. But I would have personally wanted to go a little bit further. Colin Warwick's into...
Unless it's fuel.
Could be fuel limited.
It could be fuel.
But I think they'll be alright. They'll still be alright. This is their second stop. They should be able to make it to the end if they've made it this far after lap 1.
We will see. I'm holding out hope.
Because lap 1, they pit on lap 1, so they've made it 22 laps.
Yeah, but they made it 22 laps, but 4 of those laps were trundling around behind the safety car.
That's a good point you make.
So
it could be tight.
So
it could be tight.
Racing laps, we will see. 3 stop then, said Scott Nolan. Could it be fuel? Yeah. So Scott Nolan having the same thought process as us.
Parrot.
Just as Scott Nolan parroted our conjecture, we see Cameron Parrott come into the pits. It is Cameron Parrott. See, now I'm double
Cameron
guessing
Parrott
myself.
and Campbell. So many new names tonight.
Tyre
Brody Steen, race leader, into the pits. So 1 lap later for Brody Steen. It might be a bit more comfortable for him to do this on 2 stops.
Might be. Or we could just be completely talking this up and it ends up being nothing. But
you seem a bit more on edge as to whether they'll be able to make it to the end than I do.
Oh no, I mean I'm sure they'll make it to the end, but I just think they might run out of pace towards the end of the race. Whereas if Zach Baker stops again on lap say 30, then he's going to have a lot more pace at the end of the race.
He's definitely got more flexibility built in, but he just doesn't have the track position.
Correct. Well, but he has the track position right now, but that's because he's only had 1 pit stop.
Yes, he's definitely going to have to make another tour. But he's definitely got, as you said, he's got the pace. 111.6 is by some margin the fastest lap of the race. No one else is in the 11s. Most of them are in the 12s and 13s.
And they are on fresh tyres now as well. So Zach Baker he wasn't incredible in qualifying. He was what, 3rd, 4th? 4th on the grid. So
I mean that's pretty good.
That's pretty good, but he's outshowing everyone that was above him on the grid currently with lap times.
I think they're conserving tyres and he isn't as a result of what
that's
he's done.
true.
Oh, goodness me, Luke Rosella and Dane Liccardo getting
that would have
again side by side.
That would have been a terrifying moment in Luke Rosella's cockpit, looking out your passenger side window and seeing Dane Liccardo staring out his windshield at you.
Once again, we've got this mismatch in pace as the guys who've just come into the pits trying to make their way up past those guys who haven't pit again for a second time. So Kurt Stenberg making his way there past Kobe Williams, Colin Warwick making it a twofer.
Piggybacking on that one.
Colin Warwick's got some good pace in this race. He's coming back at Kurt Stenberg pretty quickly, I reckon. Kurt Stenberg might be not so much thinking behind, but eyes backward as opposed to eyes forward. Which is good news for Luke Rosella, who has put Dane Liccardo between himself and his nearest championship rival.
And Dane, we've seen earlier in this race, Dane is not an easy man to overtake, so Kurt could be stuck there for a little while.
Colin just did his personal best lap of the race despite having to overtake a car on that lap.
That's pretty good.
Personal best lap for him.
Still, nobody has taken that fastest lap away from Zach Baker.
I don't think anyone has come close to doing that.
And Zach Baker has 24 seconds on his nearest rival, Benjamin Dahlia.
26 seconds on Kurt Stenberg, and they all
that seems like quite a lot.
I think he's got himself back into a good position in this race. Someone's just shortcut that.
How long's a pit stop, do we reckon?
Well, normally it's around about 40 seconds or so.
Yeah, so what, he'd be 12 seconds behind and on much fresher tyres towards the end of the race?
Let's have a look at his current lap time. 12.7. Kurt Stenberg's just come out of the pits on 12.8. But the mismatch, I mean, his fastest lap is a second a lap faster than that.
Yeah.
So maybe that was just a poor lap for Zach Baker. But given the kind of pace that we have seen him run, he could make up that 12 seconds easily before the end of the race. So keep an eye on that. I like a good strategy mismatch.
I reckon it's going to be Twat.
Here is Zach Baker. Let's see if we can pick up any.
We've talked about him enough. Let's give him some screen time. So I thought he was about to pile drive into those tyres. managed to avoid it. Kurt Stenberg has managed to get past Dane Liccardo and up into 3rd place.
You missed it. Good one, Steve.
We did. No, I mean, in fairness, I did wrap him up by saying that Dane Liccardo has proved difficult to overtake, and then Kurt Stenberg has just breathed and walked past him. So he's actually got past a few people, because he got past Benjamin Dahlia as well. And Colin Warwick tried to follow him through. Maybe Dane Liccardo...
Not in that shot.
Yeah, maybe Dane Liccardo had an error somewhere. Because no, that's him in the background there. So he must have had an error somewhere around the track. Presumably somewhere around the track.
Well, if it was not on the track, then that would probably mean that he's not on the track now.
That's correct.
You know, just going by logic.
Yes, it would, Stez.
Yes, I would, yeah.
Yes, I would, Ken.
I'm going to give this score a 10. I'm going to start by doing the circle, which is the O, and then the vertical line denoting the 1. I think we've got a replay now. Well, I know we've got a replay now. This is what happened to Dane Liccardo. So this is when he was still ahead of Kurt Stenberg, and just got a little bit of oversteer there. Tyres starting to scream enough, maybe.
It was a pretty innocuous moment there.
Still
that's
who I think I saw shortcutting the track earlier before. I did briefly made mention of that. But,
I do remember hearing that.
See who that was, and that does answer the question for us. So we do get to the end of these, to the bottom of these stories sometimes.
Well, like Ross Noble, by the end of the show, we've gotten back to all the things we started talking about.
But sometimes you just don't think it's possible.
You really don't. So that gap's come down about a second out front from Zach Baker back to Luke Rosella.
Ricardo's struggling. And, he's just lost that position to Brody Steen.
Zach Baker about a second slower than Luke Rosella on the previous lap, so those tyres may be going off for Zach Baker just a little bit.
Ricardo good on lap 15, so this is as far as he's got on tyres, so he's really struggling. He's going to have to come in very soon, I think. And that's going to take him well out of contention. So
when do we have when Zach Baker hit?
Yeah, let's have a look. Let's bring that up. Lap 17, so he's getting towards the kind of end of his stint as well.
He's been on them for 13 laps almost.
So he's actually bleeding time now. He needs to come in pretty soon because in order to make that strategy work, he needs to have that tyre advantage. At the moment, a 13.4 is just not doing it for Zach Baker. He's stayed out again, and on the previous lap, Kurt Stenberg was a second faster than him, so just sort of not quite working out.
Yeah, so assuming he comes in end of this lap, that will give him 14 laps on fresh rubber to chase down the leaders. And if we're seeing, so that's 13 laps for Zach Baker, and his tyres are starting to fall off, so the tyres of the leaders will be starting to fall off at the very end of the race. So I'm not sure Zach Baker will be able to be quick enough to get that in.
But he will have the tyre advantage right to the end of the race if he gets down. And he can definitely make it to the end quite comfortably because he's gone further in the previous stints that he's done.
But then his tyres will fall off at the end of the race as well.
Yeah, but nowhere near as much because they're
true.
still planning to go to the end having pit.
That's very true.
About, what was it, 8 laps ago?
8 laps ago, yeah, lap 22. So their tyres will start to fall off in the next 3 or 4 laps. The Nemesis 69 saying, awesome this, would love to see this in AMS2. Unfortunately, with the complete lack of decent modding support for AMS2, not likely in the near future.
Yeah, they said that they're going to stick with AMS1 in the meantime because of the mod support, and it just seems to do a better job with it. So my two poor computers are not going to handle AMS2 very well without a bit of an upgrade. But this battle rages on. Colin Warwick putting a lot of pressure on Kurt Stenberg. We've kind of been neglecting it, but they've been nose to tail for the last 4 or 5 laps.
They have co-admins, and Kurt Stenberg, Colin Warwick, sorry, with a good run down into turn 2, and actually gets the job done. That looked like Kurt Stenberg just moved out of the way for him. Team orders between admins? Surely not.
No, is Colin Warwick going to have a lash at Luke Rosella?
Maybe. They've just said, you know, I'm not making any dent into his advantage. You have a lash and I'll just sort of cling onto your coattails. Cling on to your IV.
He's out of hospital, thank goodness.
He is out of hospital.
Imagine getting his
I was about to say, can you imagine them wheeling it in there and with your heart rate monitor on in a battle like this? Beep, 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 beep.
Yeah, I worry about him when there's these sort of close battles. Race leader in the pits, Zach Baker, has finally elected to get rid of those tyres, so that's what I thought he should have done.
All right.
And we're going to see what kind of gap he will have to make up before the end of this race. I'm very intrigued to see how far he can make it back. Where do we think he's going to drop back to? Fifth?
Well, he was 20 seconds ahead of Luke Rosella when he came into the pits. So, what's 20 seconds behind Luke Rosella? roughly, yeah, sixth-ish ahead of Brody Steen.
Well,
behind Brody Steen. So behind Brody Steen.
Yeah, I don't think he's not going to lose another place because McFarlane's quite a long way behind.
And that was quite a short stop as well. So
17 seconds to Luke Rosella, the race leader. So I think that's out of the reach. Luke Rosella's going pretty well. Colin Warwick and Kurt Stenberg have got a pretty strong turn of pace. Damon Woods is in the realm of possibility. He can catch Damon Woods if he continues the way he did before with that blistering pace. And Damon Woods' last pit on lap 22, so his tyres will be 22 laps old at the end of the race, and they will be screaming. What times was he doing towards them? Oh, here we go. Here's a story. Damon Woods on his in lap lost 4 seconds on the first sector. I wonder if that was tyre based.
Yeah, because Luke Rosella, Colin Warwick, Kurt Stenberg are doing okay at the moment, but their tyres are probably going to start falling off the cliff in the next couple of laps. So I guess it depends how significant that drop off is going to be.
Of the top three, Colin Warwick is the fastest.
Yeah,
he's in the mid-12s.
He's catching up to Luke Rosella. 1.1 seconds now, the gap between the two of them.
Yeah, he actually took about a second and 1.2 seconds out of Luke Rosella on the previous lap.
Jesus.
So that surprises me. Colin Warwick, he can make it to the end.
Are we sure they just like fixed his heart? They didn't give him like bionic arms and spider reflexes or something while he was in there?
Well, I was disappointed he couldn't make it to the last round because that has very much hurt his championship charge, and he was absolutely on form before he left for that heart surgery.
Zach Baker with the
continuing as he left
fastest first sector of anyone on his first flying lap on these new tyres.
That's good news for... well, this is all converging to the end of this race. We've got 11 laps left, and everyone's coming back towards the leaders at the moment, it seems. This is exactly what we want to see.
It absolutely is. So, Colin Warwick not able to make much more of an impression on Luke Rosella's lead through that previous lap. They're pretty equidistant, 1, 2, and 3.
What did they do on the last lap?
Zach Baker, fastest lap of the race with a 1:11.4.
Luke Rosella picked up his pace, so maybe he had a bit of a mistake or some traffic on the previous lap. Colin Warwick was still marginally quicker, but he needs to find a bit more time if he wants to have a bit of a challenge for the lead. Kurt Stenberg, seemingly at the moment with no answer, he dropped off by the tune of half a second from the leading two.
So Zach Baker on the previous lap was 1.5 seconds faster than Luke Rosella.
Gracious.
And 2 whole seconds faster than Brody Steen, who's ahead of him. So
what did you say? 1.5?
1.5 seconds faster than Luke Rosella.
Let's do the maths. That's 15 seconds.
15 seconds.
And he's
15 seconds.
But he's got to maintain that sort of margin and pass cars without losing time. He does have the pace to win, but one would say he's going to run out of laps.
This is Max Verstappen on Lewis Hamilton, like pitting and chasing him down on fresh tyres at the end.
But he had an open air gap.
He did have an open air gap.
Actually, look at the traffic the leaders are contending with right now. This is very much hurting their chance. This is going to lose them seconds as they try and navigate the blue flag runners. Luke Rosella making his way through. So which lap's car is that? It's one of the Evolution cars, the number 25 there. who is doing his best to say to try and get out of the way. It is Wiseman. I can just see the name on the front windscreen. So, Colin Warwick lost a huge amount of time there. Had to absolutely get out of it. But it probably is, as you were, with the little gap sort of diminishing as he caught up to Wiseman, and then stretching out again as Colin Warwick had the same trouble. How much trouble is Kurt Stenberg going to have to get past? He still hasn't managed to clear him before they got down to turn 11. And a huge dropper. Just saw the back of that, and now that allows Kurt Stenberg finally to get the job done.
Rather sensibly gets out of the way.
That is going, well, that is going to have a big impact. Oh, he's struggling with tyres. Wiseman. When did Wiseman last pit?
Jesus wept.
Just sort of, he's pitted 4 laps in a row, so I'm not quite sure what happened there.
I think he had a penalty, I believe.
Lap 23 the last time he toured. Hopefully that was the last time he changed tyres. So that has reduced the gap to 13 seconds for Zach Baker, 12 in fact. The thing though is that Zach Baker will at some stage have to clear this traffic if he wants to catch up to these guys.
A previous lap for Zach Baker only a 1:12.4, so a second slower than his previous effort.
But he still found time, he still found a second or so.
He did still close that gap, so it's now down to 14 seconds, but I don't think he's going to, unless barring a miracle, I don't think the win is in his sights, but he could definitely find himself up onto the podium.
Yeah, podium contention is definitely a possibility. I had written him off for that, so I'd sort of said he could only get up towards Damon Woods. Well, he's only 3 seconds behind Damon Woods now, so how he clears Damon, how quickly he does that is going to be key in how far he gets in this race.
Absolutely. So Luke Rosella just a second ahead of Colin Warwick now. As Colin Warwick slowly closing that back in. Kurt Stenberg falling off the back of this gap. Falling off the back of this pack. 1.4 seconds now between Colin Warwick and Kurt Stenberg. So Colin Warwick doing a very good job, as we've got a little bit of picture-in-picture action here. Never mind. It's gone. And it is back.
I had a picture-in-picture that was a duplicate of what we're looking at, so...
Not particularly useful.
Just getting that ready in case we might need to see it to follow two battles at once.
There is Brody Steen, so Zach Baker has caught up to the first man he needs to... Ooh, sounded like someone hit the wall. He's caught up to the first man he needs to overtake.
So what happened there? Because Damon Woods was the next car up the road. Brody Steen made a mistake somewhere. Damon Woods is just ahead of him.
Well, he's definitely made a mistake now. He's pulled it out of the way. Oh, no, that was a lap runner.
Yeah, so that's a car. That's one of Damon Woods' teammates making his way into the pit lane now. So a little bit hard with a lot of new cars running the same sort of liveries.
So Brody Steen's got the...
Kobe Williams, I think. No, sorry.
Kobe Williams got a different livery. Brody Steen's got the benefit of a bit of a slipstream from the lapped runner there. But Zach Baker, with so much more grip, is able to tuck up the inside, get a bit of drive down.
Whoa! He's not got quite enough overlap, but he's going to force the issue here. Brody Steen gives him just enough room, and it looks like Zach Baker has managed to find his way through. So much better news now for the ZB guys in their championship battle, with Brody Steen, the lone man flying the flag for RaceOnOz, only able to offer a superficial defence, with Zach Baker on much fresher tyres, making his bid for podium finish at the moment.
3 seconds up the road now to Damon Woods. And then 2 seconds further, another 3 seconds up the road to Kurt Stenberg.
Look at this battle for the lead. It's just hotted up. Luke Rosella is coming under some pressure. He's actually just defended a bit of an over and under move into the final corner, as Colin Warwick had a bit of a dip and wasn't able to make the move stick, but he's going to have another go here down into turn 2, but thinks better of that as Luke Rosella retains the lead. But definitely Colin Warwick sniffs a victory at this moment, and this could be what brings Zach Baker into it towards the end of this race. Still 5 laps to go, so he needs to do a huge amount to catch that 9 seconds. And as I'm sort of looking at those numbers and seeing how much time there is left in this race, I don't believe Zach Baker can do it. But Luke Rosella and Colin Warwick are both here with an equal chance of winning this race.
Yeah, definitely. This is very, very close, and Colin Warwick appears to be much more comfortable in the car at this moment. Luke Rosella is doing nothing but defending. He is looking in his rearview mirror, and Colin Warwick's just poking out, reminding him that he's there, and then retaking the racing line. So he is right on the rear bumper there of Luke Rosella as they come down and into turn 13.
What a comeback this was.
Colin Warwick again going for the over-under around the last corner. Very messy on the exit, but got a much wider line, so should have a better drive. As you said, yeah, what a return this would be from being in hospital last round.
Hunt Brunswick said he's parked it right on his colon. Colin parked it on his colon.
Colin on his colon. Very good.
Meanwhile, Zach Baker has caught up here to
Damon Woods.
Damon Woods. And Damon Woods is struggling a little bit with his tyre life at the moment. So it's all on for young and old at Escape, you might say. Here's your picture-in-picture. Two battles to look at. How lucky are we as Zach Baker tries his best here to get into 4th place. I think the podium is just ebbing away because the time is running out. There's only 4 laps remaining at the end of this lap.
It's going to be tantalisingly close because Kurt Stenberg is not particularly quick at the moment, but that gap is just blowing out and out and out between Damon Woods and Kurt Stenberg.
How defensive Luke Rosella's having to be side by side on the way out, and it looks like we've got 2 moves on at once. Here is Zach Baker going down the inside of Damon Woods. We've got Luke Rosella defending the inside, the final corner from Colin Warwick. Zach Baker has got the job done on Damon Woods, and side by side, let's go full screen as they go down the main straight. Luke Rosella defending the lead here from Colin Warwick, who has the ideal inside line, squeezed through that flat out kink at one, up the inside. Colin Warwick into turn 2 is going to make his bid for the lead. Does he have the traction on the exit? Luke Rosella is still there, hanging tough. The next corner goes the right way. If your name is Colin Warwick, Luke Rosella tries to hang around the outside, and Colin Warwick has the lead.
Incredible overtake from Colin Warwick. Incredible side-by-side racing from Colin Warwick and Luke Rosella through turns 1, 2, 3 to make that move happen. That was very, very spicy. I enjoyed watching that very much. Zach Baker did make up that position on Damon Woods and is now chasing after Kurt Stenberg. 5 seconds plus some lapped runners between him and Kurt Stenberg, so that might be a bit too much with only 3 laps left. And Kurt Stenberg, I think, will be disappointed but grateful that he's managed to hold on to that 3rd place considering his lack of pace at the moment.
Well, there's still 3 laps to go. We watch with interest Zach Baker's pace. He did a 13.8 on the previous lap, which is way off the pace they have been setting, but Kurt did a 14.4. So the difference there is about 0.6 of a second.
You can see him in the background there, Zach Baker. So once Zach Baker gets some clear air, because that was while he was overtaking Damon Woods, he could maybe make up a second or 2 a lap, but would that be enough with only 3 laps left on the board?
Colin Warwick with his clear air is about 0.8 of a second faster than Luke Rosella now, so it doesn't look like Luke has an answer for Colin Warwick. So what was the answer for Colin Warwick to get some pace? Well, just have some heart surgery. I say that in jest because he was absolutely on form before the heart surgery. He's lost none of his pace, and my goodness, he's doing a good job tonight. Yeah,
we're definitely not recommending heart surgery as a way to spark sim racing ascendancy.
Excellence.
Yeah, excellence.
Of any kind.
Deliciousness.
Well, this has just been a delicious race indeed.
Oh, Colleen.
I don't think there's anyone in this grid who would begrudge him this win, and he's done it. He's done it having to fight his way through the field.
Let's not wrap him up.
Safety car. Well, yes.
2 laps to go because I would hate for something to happen.
Yes. And if you're watching this in retrospect and you didn't watch this and you didn't win this race, Colin, I unreservedly apologise. So I might just wrap all those words up and save them for another time.
So 3.2 seconds now, the gap between Kurt Stenberg and Zach Baker to talk about our other thing. But
can he hold on, Manbird? Can he hold on to that podium?
I reckon it's done at this stage, barring a mistake from Kurt Stenberg, which if those tyres are really starting to fall off is not out of the question. You can see Zach Baker just there in the background. 0.7 faster on the previous lap. He's got 3 seconds. So yeah, you're right. Kurt Stenberg needs to make a mistake
for Zach Baker to have a chance of that.
Probably
podium.
wouldn't take much if the tyres are sort of teetering on that edge. One big lock-up and sort of small off-track excursion could be enough to put them over the line into completely dead, which would give Zach Baker a huge advantage. But at this stage, looks like he's nursing it home nicely.
Well, Colin Warwick, I reckon, is just struggling a little bit with his tyres. But these two are on very even tyre wear, so they should have a similar level. But has Colin used more of his tyre to get up to Luke Rosella and make the overtake?
Final lap of the race.
6/10 of a second gap as they begin the final lap of the race. Luke Rosella doesn't have the opportunity to close up that much under the safety car.
Between Luke Rosella and Kurt Stenberg, they've just left him. It's been a while since I've seen Kurt Stenberg so kind of anonymous.
Yeah, I wonder if he is lacking the pace or if he's gone into championship conservation mode, because he has such a dominant lead, and third place is to the end of the year would get him home, as much as he loves the accolades and all that goes with it of winning the race. But this isn't over here. Luke Rosella is fighting back as Colin Warwick saving a bit of fuel towards the end. We have seen Colin Warwick run out of fuel towards the end of the race. This might be decided on a fuel run. Luke Rosella is absolutely in with a chance here. Goes up the inside. Colin Warwick didn't seem to have an answer for that. Drove him out to the edge of the race. I think Colin Warwick will be allowed to go back through or not. They're both out of tyres. They're both out of tyres. I think Colin Warwick's rears are gone.
Luke Rosella scampered off with that one, and Colin Warwick just unable to get the... Look at him crabbing out of that last corner. Zach Baker made it into third place. What happened to Kurt Stenberg? Down into sixth place.
I think his tyres died.
His tyres did die, Zach Baker.
That happened to Colin Warwick. I apologise, man, but you called this at the halfway mark. They haven't made it on tyres. Look at the front right is absolutely waving in the air. Colin Warwick got done at the end. Kurt Stenberg got done at the end. No tyres. No tyres.
Kurt Stenberg not even on the podium after we said at the start of the last lap, yeah, he's probably got this one unless he makes a mistake. Just tyres.
You did mention something about tyre wear in that one.
I did. And I did call this. I thank you for acknowledging that.
So we have got vision of Kurt Stenberg. He had a bit more of a dramatic blow up than Colin Warwick. We saw Colin Warwick's live. And this was that was the rears going. There's absolutely nothing you can do at that point when the tyres have screamed enough. Kurt Stenberg had nothing left.
Nope. So that was I was thinking a small off-track excursion, not something that dramatic. My goodness. That is unbelievable. What a race, says Hans B. I can only agree with you.
Colin Warwick still brought it home for second despite that. We saw Zach Baker in the back in the...
Mr. Walshy just saying, go the early crow. Oh, God. My goodness. Incredible, incredible finish. Luke Rosella, what a win. And Colin Warwick, very close.
Gutting. He was so close. You're right, man, but I shouldn't have given him the wrap-up. He did everything apart from finish it off. The tyres just had screamed enough, and there's nothing much really that he could have done in the end, aside from maybe try and save his tyres a little bit. Luke Rosella managed them to perfection. He had absolutely just enough left to bring that home for victory.
And Zach Baker, he didn't bite on the cheap safety car pit stops at the start. He's just sort of stuck to his pit strategy, and it ended up working out for him.
He ended up only 4.5 seconds adrift in third place.
Yeah, from the lead.
Race winner Luke Rosella.
Having taken both of his pit stops under green flag running. So,
but he did the more optimal strategy of splitting the race pretty much equally into three stints.
Yeah.
And that I think legitimately that was the fastest strategy, because Luke Rosella had the helping hand of getting time lost back under the safety car.
Absolutely.
So, wow.
My goodness. What a race. That was is this what I've been missing not commentating on Townsville? Because my goodness.
Well, it always throws a few surprises in there. Never one quite this dramatic, I think. That was hats off to the admins for this the format that they've done with the 2 compulsory pit stops in the 44-lap race. It's worked absolutely well, and I hope you all enjoyed that watching along. Scott Nolan makes a good point. Thank goodness I apologised to Colin Warwick ahead of time.
Can't wait for him to watch that back.
For giving him the wrap-up way too early. 2 laps to go. I should have known. These things always come down to a last lap. A last lap bust-up in some... Well, the bust-up was not between drivers. It was between tyres.
It was between tyres, which decided not to work anymore.
I mean, I'd say I'm speechless, but I'm not because I keep saying things. I'm gobsmacked. It's probably the term.
Gobsmacked.
Gobsmacked.
So...
That's not it, guys.
That is not it. So don't go anywhere. We have got qualifying for race number 2.
That's going to be a hot qualifying session.
Isn't it just?
5-minute qualifying session, 24 cars on
track. I love
track.
the 5-minute qualifying sessions. I'm so glad they've gone back to the very short qualifying because, my goodness, it's chaotic.
Yeah, and we've never had a grid that big for a qualifying session, so...
It looked pretty... we missed most of it with our technical issues for the main qualifying session for race number 1, so I'm very much looking forward to seeing this one, but it looked like it was off its head from looking at the live races. I cannot wait. Kurt Stenberg in the chat saying that was one of the classics.
Absolutely.
And he was coming from the man that spun out and lost a podium position.
He's still got a good haul of points for his championship. I think he'll be satisfied. He tried. He rolled the dice. So did Colin. They rolled the dice on extra, on those extra laps with their tyres, and it didn't work out for them. Luke Rosella. Just going back into that result to see, because I can't remember. Forgive me, I can't remember exactly what pit. Lap Luke Rosella pit, whether it was 1 lap later.
I think it was the same lap. I reckon the front 3 all pit at the same. Well, Colin Warwick, Luke Rosella, and Kurt Stenberg will pit on the same lap. I think
the information is lost to me at the moment, but anyway, I'm sure we'll catch up with them after the night's events. We've still got the matter of race 2, which will be a shorter affair, 22 laps. Plenty of chances for action to happen. These shorter sprint races can definitely throw a cat amongst the piggy-ons.
Yep, 22 laps, which is, if Hans Brunswick can get out his abacus, I think 22 is half of
50%.
44. Yes, 50%.
There's some numbers that we can get out.
It's 1/12 of the total field.
Wrap your laughing gear around those numbers.
My goodness.
Yes. It's hard to see it topping race 1. Given how incredible that was, but I've been wrong before, and I've been very wrong before. So
like when you started to wrap up Colin Warwick with 2 laps to go. I'm not going to let you forget that. I'm just going to.
I just hope he won't let me forget that.
Or that you hope he will let you forget that.
Yes. Oh. I've done myself a mischief there.
Oh my goodness.
That was a good laugh you had at that, didn't it?
That was very good.
That was very good.
Oh, that was very good.
That was quite good.
That was delicious.
So,
I think qualifying is underway.
Speaking of delicious, we've got something to serve you up, and that is a qualifying session. So a 5-minute qualifying session. Madbird, here are the particulars of the racetrack.
It is turn 4 again does not exist, so there is the
This is the meme.
This is the meme.
Turn 4 is a lie.
Every single track, I will find a corner that should not be a corner. Every single track. If we find one where there are no corners that I deem not to be a corner, I've confused myself now.
I see what you're saying.
I'll do something. We'll figure something out.
What a good track this is. Previous winners, Dane Warren and Ethan Warren, and now Luke Rosella.
Absolutely. So the Warrens and Rosella, they feel like very Australian names somehow.
Well, Rosella, native bird.
Isn't it just? And he's a pilot.
You're going to have to...
Luke Rosella is a pilot.
Oh.
And I believe he is. His profile picture on Facebook is him in a...
You've done your research, man.
And well, it's just he keeps showing up as a recommended friend because I think he's friends with Colin Warwick and Kurt Stenberg. And so his name is Rosella, and he flies.
Tough time to be a pilot.
Isn't it just?
Job security is non-existent.
No.
But we wish all our pilot friends, I've got pilot friends who are sort of sitting this pandemic out and hoping that everything returns. I'm sure it will, given the way that people seem to return to normal fairly quickly. It's been one of the surprising things of the last year, so that gives me hope for our pilot friends.
Absolutely.
5-minute qualifying session has got underway. We haven't seen any hot laps yet because everyone is circulating on their out lap. What are we seeing in terms of people staying in the pits? Probably half the field, something like that.
Looks about.
Looks about. Yeah, looks about. Looks about.
You're a wanker.
Am I?
In the nicest possible.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, surely.
Ah, very good.
Yeah, very good.
This status column used to show me.
It used to show a little yellow PP.
Frustrating me that it isn't doing that.
to show when someone has been in the pits, but it will not do so. So we're gonna have to guess who's in the pits.
Maybe it's track-based. Perhaps the track playing ball.
Perhaps it is track-based.
I hope so.
Very much so.
First man to start a lap will be Benjamin Dahlia, so we'll see if we can pick up some vision of him. Takes a lot longer to cycle through.
You went past him. There he is. Very good.
So he's on a flying lap.
Stick that 1980 saying Brody as we cut away from Brody Steen.
Closely followed by Kobe Williams, who we saw making a bit of a hash of his shootout lap. Might have more opportunities tonight.
Benjamin Dahlia probably deserved a better result than he got in the first race. He's pretty quick.
A bit anonymous in the end of that race.
We had a couple of accidents, I think. Not entirely his doing. So hopefully a cleaner race number 2 for him.
Yeah, we ended up finishing in 7th? Numbers are
What? How does progression work?
The ad just haven't put the...
He's ended in 8th. Because it doesn't have the column for positions, I figured that out by looking at that. He started in 7th and he was down 1 position from where he started.
All of these, position doesn't appear to be one.
No. I would have thought position would be the number thing right at the top.
Yeah, no, that's just car number. Anyway, not important. If you do want to follow along with the live timing, Kobe Williams goes to the top, by the way, on an 11.3. Just jump onto rsmclanau.liveracers.com. I've got to stop doing that thing where I splice 2 sentences together.
It is difficult.
I apologise.
Make sure, while you're at it, hop over onto Facebook, Automobilista Supercars Championship and Apex Rear Wing. Give them both a like. Like this stream. That is a command. And also hit the subscribe button. And if you like the show that we put on for you as we watch Damon Woods, you're right there?
Yeah, I just cracked my car.
I just saw you.
To the top.
If you like the show that we're putting on for you tonight, hop on over to patreon.com/ApexRearWing. Chuck us $1 or whatever you want to give us, and we would very much appreciate it. So Damon Woods just up by the barest of margins, coming through the second sector split, so he's looking good.
That is a bare margin.
That is a bare margin.
Gracious me.
The barest of margins.
So what can Damon Woods do? Benjamin Dahlia's about to cross the line, and he goes 8. I think he can do a bit better than that.
Yeah, I would have thought so.
11.7 though, that's not too bad a lap, but
11.7.
evidently not.
7.11, but backwards.
Good. 5th place for Damon Woods. So he probably lost a little bit towards the end of that lap because he was very much looking good through the second split.
Kobe Williams very quick in that 3rd place, still has not had that stolen away from him.
David Nemedich is touring the grass at the moment, which isn't something that he would be. Oh, there's server glitch there.
Zach Baker in 4th. Kurt Stenberg in 2nd. Colin Warwick only good enough for 6th at the moment.
Lincoln, you'll miss it. There's 30 seconds left in the session.
Oh my goodness.
So who's on a lap? Brazilla is.
We've got a couple of people with fastest middle sectors.
Kurt Stenberg has just toppled Luke Brazella's provisional pole. So Kurt Stenberg, very much with the qualifying pace at the moment, didn't quite hook it together in a shootout lap. And Luke Brazella doesn't look like he has an answer on this particular lap. Colin Warwick is currently in 6th. Does he have an answer? He's about to come up to the final corner. He's got a little bit of traffic, but if it doesn't, it might actually give him a tow. It's not going to balk him too much, so he might get a little bit of a slipstream down this straight. Colin Warwick, 6th place is what he stays. The time is up, so he will start no better than the 6th. And Luke Rosella has aborted his lap as well, so he's going to start no better than the 1st. So it's looking good for Kurt Stenberg. What does Brody Steen have? Kobe Williams in 3rd. I've got to put my hand up and say good job, Kobe Williams, in the 3rd place. Who can topple him? Zach Baker's in the pits. Damon Woods isn't looking like he's improving. Benjamin Dahlia has finished. Alex Cattle has come into the pits.
Campbell Logan and Dane Liccardo both got up into 13th and 14th respectively.
Tomo in the pits, David Nenadic in the pits, Lachlan Burke is done. Campbell Logan is trying to give Liccardo a bit of a push, and then Liccardo exits out back to
Steve Warren
pits.
got up into 19th.
And looks like that's pretty much it.
Nathan Higginson got up into 16th place. Yeah, there was no late changes really.
Kurt Stenberg was the main late change, but he didn't, he did it still with about, a minute or so left in the session. So Kurt Stenberg is your pole sitter in that surprisingly uneventful 5-minute qualifying session.
Yeah, I was expecting that to be a bit more chaotic than it was.
I'm surprised they all found space to do their laps. That was very professionally done by
maybe they did all their tripping over each other in the first qualifying session and we missed it,
or in the first lap of the previous race.
That's a good point.
Nightmare. But after what was a bit of a messy start, it turned into a brilliant strategy battle, that race. And what does race 2 have in for us? Let's have a bit of a break. Madbird, we're going to come back with all the action for race number 2.
Hello everybody, welcome backstage for the Automobilista Supercars Championship Bathurst 1000 stream, brought to you by Apex Rear Wing. This is just to give you a little look at our setup for the race today. So we've got our big main camera here, which is shooting our desk there. So that's when we're to camera, doing our little wrap-ups and stuff. That's where we're going to be. We've got these lovely green things, just sort of fake foliage to give us a bit of sound muffling, and also some very classy flamingo designs. We've got James behind the camera, currently filming me as I'm speaking. Over here we've got Stairs currently doing something very important before the stream begins, and indeed he's got some gaffer tape, so we won't interrupt him. But if you just come over here, you can see the enormous setup that we have. We've got 4 monitors, one of which is a TV, on which you can see Maddie Dunlop and Josh Bagsy. Bagsy's currently completing a Rubik's Cube, so you can see we're intelligent and talented here at Apex Rear Wing. So we've got 3 keyboards. We have got 3 mice. We have got a switcher. We have got 4 monitors. We're going to have 3 computers running. If you just come down here really quick, you can see we've got 1 computer over here, and then we've got another one here, and then we've got a 3rd one over here. So lots and lots of technology back here. The 21st century, isn't it? So, and then through this door over here, if you just have we probably don't need to go in there, but if you just pop over here, James, and just have a sneaky peek through there, you'll be able to see that is our Kart FX bunker, where we've got Michael Zalavari doing some very important work on the whiteboard. So that's just a quick little brief look at the backstage here for the Automobilista Supercars Championship Bathurst 1000, and hope you've enjoyed.
Welcome back everyone to, what are we up to? Round 6. My thumbnail said round 7, but that's because of the shuffle around in the calendar. But nevertheless, we are here at Townsville, at the Townsville Street Circuit, for what has been a tremendous round so far. One more race to go. We're 2/3 of the way down in terms of racing laps complete. We've had a 44 lapper, we're about to have a 22 lapper. Bit of a sprint race. There will be a compulsory pit stop, which must be served between laps 1 and 20. And
again, another very big pit window.
Good chance with this race, with the big field, 22 cars still in the server, of a first lap safety car like we saw in race 1, which might throw the strategy open once again. If if half the field elects to make that pit stop, they'll be very, very close on tyres, which we saw happen in race 1. And those who elect to go a little bit longer and do a bit more of a traditional half race pit stop, they might find themselves in a good position again.
Definitely. So, just in the warm-up session at the moment, waiting for it to tick over into the race. Looks like it has just done so.
Yeah, so we don't get any vision of cars on track there, but we will remind you of this fantastic racetrack.
Yep. 1, 2, 3.
Did I really not put turn 5 on there?
No, it shows up in a second. There it is.
I did.
Yep.
There you go.
I've studied this.
It shows up in a second.
It shows up in just
Hold him up for a
1
few
second. I'm glad you got where I was going with that. Of course, Townsville Street Circuit has the somewhat dubious honour of inspiring a Roadhog classic, Place City Circuit, because he had an American friend who thought Townsville was a ridiculous name because it's basically like Place City because Townville.
I understand.
Yep. I was explaining for our viewers' benefit. But Place City Circuit ended up being a fantastic circuit as well, so maybe not a dubious honour after all. Kurt Stenberg leads us off with pole position in race number 2 after a somewhat messy end to the first race. Can he recover in race number 2? In second place, we have the winner from race 1, Luke Rosella. What can he do from second on the grid? Third on the grid, we've got Kobe Williams, who was only good enough for, I reckon, 10th or 9th in the first race. So
I don't think we saw his real pace because he spun on his shootout lap.
Correct, yeah. So look forward to seeing what he can do. What is he doing? Oh dear. We'll come back to this. Zach Baker in 4th place.
Maybe we might not see
his true pace. Zach Baker in 4th after getting into the podium in the first race. He's going to technically start on the podium now with Kobe Williams. Damon Woods in 5th. Colin Warwick in 6th place after his podium in the previous race. What can he do from 6th? Brody Steen in 7th place for RaceOnOz. Benjamin Dahlia for RaceOnOz number 2 in 8th. And Alex Cattle for RaceOnOz number 2 in 9th. So we've got 3 different coloured RaceOnOz. That's quite pleasing. It's like a traffic light.
Isn't it?
In 10th place, we've got Termo in the blank Holden. In 11th place, we've got David Nadich in the other ZBRacing car. In 12th, we've got Lachlan Burke in the Tamiya All-Australian Races. 13th, we've got Campbell Logan in that black Mustang. In 14th, we have got we've got Dane Liccardo, do apologise, for Evolution Racing Team. In 15th, we've got Corey McFarlane. 16th, we have...
He's fallen back.
He has, because he was in the top 10 shootout for the first race, so... wonder what's happened with him. 16th, we've got Nathan Egerson. 17th, we've got Tyrone Wiseman. And 18th, Lewis Wedding, who we will probably expect to be up a bit higher than that. Although maybe he's a little bit gun-shy after the first lap of the first race. Doing the Nedler strategy of starting at the rear of the grid. 19th, the Pablo strategy. Cameron Parrott in 18th. In 19th, we have Steve Warwick, father of the recently second on the podium, Colin Warwick. And Rhodey rounding out the top 20, hoping for a hashtag Rhodium. And RSM Latino once again not making the grid.
So we've got the empty spot there because it looks like he hasn't managed to find his spot back. That is Kobe Williams. So that's a huge shame. And jumping the start is Colin Warwick. It's all fallen apart at the first opportunity for Colin Warwick. So that is absolute disaster. From hero to zero, it's not worked out. Kurt Stenberg sweeps through into the lead, side by side behind there for Luke Rosella and Colin Warwick, but Colin Warwick has that penalty to serve, and Kurt Stenberg leads the way. It
was a very good start for Colin Warwick, but you'd want it to be because he jumped it, so...
Yeah.
So, a very good start from Kurt Stenberg, hanging on to that lead with Luke Rosella right on his tail. Very clean from everybody, very impressed going through turns 2 and 3. And looks like Zach Baker's doing a good job there holding off Damon Woods, but it is very close between those two with Brody Steen just behind them. I got steering wheel problems, says Kobe Williams, on the warm-up
lap. It looked like he was changing a setting or something,
so
that's an absolute disaster. He's obviously retired from the race as a result of that. Or does he? Yes, he has disappeared from the server.
Yeah, he is no longer in the game.
So Cameron Parrott has received a penalty as well. There's a little status icon coming up telling us about that. Kurt Stenberg coming under renewed pressure from Luke Rosella. Are we going to see Colin Warwick take his penalty? Yes, he's dropping down the field. So Colin Warwick is going to
get that out of the way.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
He's got the pace to try and recover, but his chances of victory look like they've gone. We've had a personal best for half the field, which I would hope so. It's the only lap they've done.
just the timing board's lighting up with green. As yeah, Luca Rosella right on the back of Kurt Stenberg. So I guess this is where we're going to see if Kurt Stenberg's lack of pace, sort of in the first race, was actual lack of pace or just him managing his tyres and managing his position, because Luca Rosella is right on his back in the early stages here. It was working fine in the warm-up, so dunno, says Kobe Williams. That is rotten luck, man.
I can relate to things working before and then...
That sucks, man. Hopefully see you next round.
And we just saw Cameron Parrott serving his penalty. Here's Colin Warwick with some clear air. He's got about 12 seconds of clear air in front of him before he catches up to Rhodey after serving his drive-through penalty, and then he'll have to make his way through the majority of the field. Perhaps when he catches the back of them, it might be a good chance to go for an early pit stop. Because I mean, if they're running the same tyre where they were in race 1, if they shouldn't be too tyre limited really, because they've made it basically the entire distance that this race is on one stint in the first race.
By the skin of their ass.
Just. Luke did. Kurt didn't quite, and Colin didn't quite.
And they'll probably be splitting this in half, I'd imagine.
Yeah, but I think that would make it a fair bit more comfortable. Unless they're upping in between races the tyre wear. But I haven't seen any word that is the case, so I think it'll be a lot more comfortable from that point of view.
But Kurt's just extended out just a tiny bit. Whoop, as we saw a very battered looking Alex Cattle.
Yeah, something unfortunate has happened to him.
Zach Baker has lost that third position to Damon Woods.
So I just want to show you, this is what happens down. These guys are fighting for sheep stations down at 13, 14, 15. Just while we're...
Is that escapism?
Well, here's something that's probably worthy of escapism. Kurt Stenberg down the inside there of... Luke Rosella down the inside of Kurt Stenberg. Flashing away on that screen, so I'm not quite sure what's happening. We'll try and resolve that.
But managing to hold on to it for the moment, Kurt Stenberg, but already a little bit wiggly on those tyres, whereas Luke Rosella looks very, very solid.
Solid as a rock.
Solid as a rock as they go through turn 3. You're going to call Kurt the winner now, lol, says Mr. Walshy.
Good one. I think he's definitely got he's got a lot of work to do if he wants to keep Luke Rosella at bay. Luke Rosella is definitely the form man here.
I'm glad that this is a team effort of not letting Stairs live that one down. As
what?
Just the little.
I can't do anything about it.
No, you can't. Damon Woods. We keep talking about Kurt Stenberg and Luke Rosella here. Damon Woods is right there. So he had a bit of a messy start of the previous race, whereas this time around he is in it up to his eyeballs. He's left Zach Baker in the distance behind him, and he is clinging onto the back of Luke Rosella just within slipstream distance, and very, very close actually coming through turn 2. That was very close as they come out of turn 2, and Damon Woods well and truly in this podium fight at the moment.
So 3 wins now for Luke Rosella with that race 1 victory, and he's looking very much like he's trying to make that 4 at the moment. So, and he's been on the podium all but 2 times that he's finished a race. Missed 3 races, the Tasmania round, which is really championship chart.
3 races, yeah.
Further up. Well, 3 races which were worth 100 points each for the win, and so it amounts to 1 round.
Yeah.
And it's similar to what Colin Warwick has lost out on. So actually, Colin Warwick and Rosella before tonight were separated only by 24 points, which goes to show how closely matched they were. Back at the front, Kurt Stenberg continues to hold Luke Rosella at bay.
I noticed that the abbreviation for the bend is just the, which I find quite pleasing. Isn't the a band?
You've exhausted my knowledge.
I feel like there was a band called the, and like that was the joke was that they were called the,
as opposed to the Who.
Well, quite.
Quite. Who probably have a little bit more acclaim.
Maybe just a little bit.
Just a wee bit.
Just a wee.
So Kurt Stenberg, Luke Rosella, Damon Woods throw a blanket over them. That's the top three. Zach Baker is about 3 seconds adrift. Doesn't have that tyre advantage that he enjoyed throughout most of the first race. And Benjamin Dahlia behind. He's now got a chance to show his pace without, hopefully without damage.
But yeah, look at these three. Very, very close together. I can confirm the are an English post-punk band. They've been active in various forms since 1979.
Various forms.
It's gaseous,
Oh yeah?
liquid, solid. Those are probably all of them.
Gaseous Clay changed his name to Muhammad Ali.
Well, that's a change of form.
A change of name.
And Luke Rosella is very close behind Kurt Stenberg, but I've said that several times and it doesn't seem to be
it continues to be true.
It does continue to be true.
Shall we mention when it isn't true?
Maybe. But it looks as if it's closer than it has been for the last couple of laps, because he had a little bit of a look there into the chicane, which would have been an absolute airplane crash.
Yes, an aeroplane crash. Which would not have any survivors potentially. Fastest lap of the race has been set by Kurt Stenberg, so he's definitely got the early pace. That was an 11.5. Pretty good lap.
That is pretty much what I think the fastest lap of the previous race was 11.4 from Zach Baker.
Yeah, and I don't think any of these front runners, apart from Zach Baker, were in the 11s. They were mostly in the 12s for the majority of the previous race. They're in the 12s now, because I suppose they're not really enjoying the edge grip that they once had at one point during this race.
Zach Baker not completely falling away. You can just see him there coming through turn 2 behind these three. So
He's only just now dropped below 3 seconds. In fact, it's hovering about that 3 second.
whoa, might go up now.
Yeah, Zach Baker, his car probably would not have enjoyed that too much. Let's see if we can catch a replay. What happened to Zach Baker? Very, very wide there. He's coming out of turn 6 into...
It's coming into turn 3.
Turn 3, beg your pardon.
And just slid straight on and into the wall. Luckily, doesn't look like it was too heavy of an impact. Just glanced off the wall a bit.
He hasn't lost that much. He's only
Lost about 6 tenths. Yeah.
Meanwhile, well, we said we wouldn't mention it unless it ceased to be true, and it has not ceased to be true. The top 3 still covered by something smaller than what a bee would probably chop off if he was transgender. I don't know why I said that.
Jesus wept.
But
What a
trying to think of creative ways to say they're very close together.
yeah, bee's dick.
Luke Rosella is trying to make a pass on Kurt Stenberg for the lead here.
I think Luke Rosella only has the option to pass, because if he doesn't overtake Kurt Stenberg, he's going to lose the position to Damon Woods. And Kurt Stenberg with a very odd exit from turn 3. It looked very awkward. As he manages to retake the racing line.
Whoa.
And now side by side are Luke Rosella and Damon Woods. Luke Rosella just managing to hold on to the inside there, going into turns 5 and 6.
Changing fortunes for Luke Rosella. He was looking like he was the odds-on favourite to take the lead of Kurt Stenberg. Now he's under pressure very much for second place as he goes very aggressively to the inside to defend that line for Damon Woods, who's trying to take third place away from him.
Very good racing between these two. Damon Woods looking to go around the outside to get him
done, isn't it?
It is. Do unto him before he does one to you.
And then try and do to the other in front. That's what they
Sounds like a parable,
school, isn't it?
That sounds very much like a parable in that it makes very little sense.
Yes.
Look,
guy left rear and the front right. Evidently, Colin Warwick didn't honour his rear left or his left rear, which is the same thing. Just sit in a different order.
very good. Colin Warwick. Speaking of, Colin Warwick down in 14th place.
Well, that's a meteoric rise, considering he was at the back of the field after the start of the race with that drive-through penalty after jumping the start.
Where's our cult hero Rhodes? He's in 18th place.
We haven't actually seen him on the broadcast. Shout out to Ben Rhodes.
Shout out to Benjamin Rhodes.
Lewis Redding circulating in 11th place.
Lewis Redding.
I think I said that, yes. Thought I'd got away with it.
No.
Sometimes. Well, Luke Rosella down the inside. That was an opportunistic move. Didn't need a second invitation. Kurt Stenberg is going to fight this one because he'll have the inside into 2. Once again, we'll have cars going side by side through turn 1, which will be, goodness gracious me, it'll be Schwinter clenching as they go through. Kurt Stenberg with the inside into turn 2, and he's going to hold on for the time being. Kurt Stenberg is going to get the traction out of the corner. Luke Rosella has to go defensive for Damon Woods because they are still separated by just millimetres.
The way
There's front to rear contact, I think, there between Damon Woods and Luke Rosella, and that's just cost Luke Rosella a few car lengths. Damon Woods is a little bit of a complication in Luke Rosella's bid to get past Kurt Stenberg.
I'm incredibly impressed by the way these guys are able to know almost exactly know the dimensions of their car. And they're like, yeah, that's enough space for me to slide back across the racing line.
Yeah, that'll do.
And it is, and they just barely miss each other.
Usually.
Oh, a little bit of love language there on the back of Luke Rosella from Damon Woods.
Oh, pit stop for both of the front 2. Damon Woods is going to stay on. We're going to have quite a bit of activity now.
Luke Rosella puts the headlights on because I think he thought Kurt Stenberg slammed on the brakes a little bit there.
Yeah, potentially. We've got Zach Baker in as well, behind them.
Just trying to keep in touch with these podium places.
Exactly.
And Corey
McFarlane's in.
McFarlane.
Oh, that's an interesting... Whoa, look at Zach Baker. He had to go around the inside. The inside there.
What the hell happened there?
That was interesting.
That was interesting.
Wasn't it? And Corey McFarlane right up behind Luke Rosella. Kurt Stenberg's on the move.
As is Zach Baker.
And this is going to be tight. This is going to be tight. Luke Rosella holds it. Does he? They're making contact at the moment. And just ever so slightly, Luke Rosella's going to get his foot on the throttle earlier.
Thank God they're not doing penalties for crossing the pit exit line.
Yeah. And they go side by side. Once again, down into 2. This is not over at all. Nathan Higginson up ahead. He doesn't have to jump out of the way because that's for position. Only 5/10, so this is going to complicate matters once again. And Damon Woods coming into the pits while that's going on. So this is all kicking off. Oh,
so I wonder if Kurt Stenberg and Luke Rosella are going to be stuck behind Nathan Higginson for the fat end of half of this lap.
This is going to cost them the position to Damon Woods.
Yeah, I wonder if the undercut is going to work here for Damon Woods, or the overcut, sorry.
Well, not at all, because they just can't get the hammer down. They still can't get past Higginson, who's absolutely within his rights to hold position here because he is not a lap down. So there's a huge amount of activity going on in the pits. If Damon Woods can actually get out when he is dropped off the jacks, though. So there's a number of cars going on in the pits. We can see who they all are. Brody Steen, I think Colin Warwick is in there as well. So Kurt Stenberg and Luke Rosella are coming down the main straight now. Damon Woods.
Well, it's really got the position.
Damon Woods is off like, well, he's gone. Yeah, they've both...
Off like a bucket of prawns at a bright side.
He must have overfueled because he's way
That was
deep.
a very long
He's
stop.
lost a lot of spots. He's behind Brody Steen, he's behind Benjamin Daly, he's behind Lewis Wedding and Kurt Stenberg and Colin Warwick and Luke Rosella continue as they were, trying to make up spots. So I think that's just maybe Damon Woods with not a huge amount of experience in Automobilista, doesn't quite have those fine mathematics for pit stops worked out. Perhaps I'm really clutching at straws because I don't know, but it just hasn't quite worked out. So Kurt Stenberg and Luke Rosella to use escapism, very fine operators. They know exactly what they need to do for their pit stops, and it shows here because the gap is exactly the same as it was before they made their pit stop. I don't know where to look because this is
a tasty little scuffle.
It is a tasty scuffle.
It's a tasty little scuffle. As we've got, I thought we had a safety car for a second because I saw it flashing yellow, but it was merely a flashing yellow.
So Damon Wood's now having the problem that Kurt Stenberg and Luke Rosella were having on their outlap, which is the amount of traffic
Zach
as
Baker.
Luke Rosella goes down the inside.
Zach Baker with the fastest lap of the race.
That
1:11.5.
very much so.
So he's
faster.
just on the back of these two. So he's put himself back up into podium contention again, with Damon Woods having that very long pit stop. Zach Baker is now sitting in what will eventually become third place.
He's the fresh tyre hero.
He is.
Give him a new set of tyres and he is half a second faster than anyone else. As
It's a good little train.
Yeah, Damon Woods is trying to effect an overtake here on Brody Steen. Just didn't seem to be working out for him. Brody Steen put it on lap 12.
Brody Steen doing a very good job as the sole RaceOnOz driver now. Oh, Luke Rosella going to sneak up the inside of turn 11. Sorry, turn 12 is not able to do so.
Not going to get it done there. Kurt Stenberg holds the inside and will try and keep it tight to the inside on the apex to stop the over and under move from Luke Rosella. He's in the slipstream, but I think Kurt Stenberg is far enough ahead to be able to try and defend that. Surely he goes to the inside here. He doesn't. So he was confident enough in his ability to outbrake Luke Rosella, who went for that late move. I think that was
very late.
As they say, a day late and a dollar short.
Say the line,
to use
man.
a brundleism. Yeah, he did very well to actually not have a collision with Kurt Stenberg. I think they both did well. And now Zach Baker is doing essentially what Damon Woods was doing earlier in creating a bit of a problem for Luke Rosella. Now, I thought Colin Warwick had made a pit stop earlier, but it appears he hasn't because he's still ahead.
He did his penalty stop, but
Yes.
he has not actually taken a pit stop yet.
No. But he's got clear air, so he might as well keep going as long as he's got the pace to do so.
See how far he can get.
He's going to drop a lot of positions.
He's gonna end up down in
14 positions or
Yeah.
something like that.
basically back where he was after his penalty.
Damon Woods has finally got the move done here on Brody Steen.
Oh, but Brody Steen with a very, very long line on the brake and actually managed to pull it up.
McFarlane had a
Barely.
bit of a look in there as well. So back at the front, Kurt Stenberg fending off numerous attacks from Luke Rosella.
And Luke Rosella just not able to make this stick. He got the position in the pit stop, but only just. And Kurt Stenberg was able to take it back again into turn 2, and hasn't looked back as Brody Steen's managed to take that position back from Damon Woods, and is back up into 5th place.
Yeah, so this warrants seeing both battles at once, I think, because it's all going on. And it's hard to know where to look. So Brody Steen is doing an absolutely masterful job keeping Damon Woods a newcomer to this series. Behind him, Brody Steen very much a stalwart. It's been there from the beginning. Stenberg fends off Luke Rosella grimly. 6 laps to go. Can he do it? It would be, if I'm not mistaken, his first winless round this year if he doesn't get the W in this race.
Sounds right to me. Yes, indeed.
Rosella going down the inside here, down into turn 2. Kurt Stenberg is going to hang tough around the outside. He gets, I think he got just a little bit of oversteer, but he still has his nose ahead as he comes out of that corner, but he hasn't got enough clear because Luke Rosella still commands the inside line as they go side by side. Backs out of that one, I think, Luke Rosella. And Kurt Stenberg is allowed to fight on for another day. My God, Luke Rosella is impressing me right now.
Yeah, he's putting so much pressure on Kurt Stenberg. Goes for the inside into turn 7. That was never going to happen, but just made Kurt Stenberg think about him being there. As we can see in the top right there, Brody Steen still holding off Damon Woods. Incredibly good driving from the RaceOnOz driver.
Yeah, Corey McFarlane with a watching brief as well.
Just like Zach Baker has on this particular battle.
They're sort of the battle behind this battle. 3. We're seeing the top 6 cars more or less in the 2 pictures on your one screen.
Luke Rosella just goes for that deep line through turn 13 to get a better run down this start-finish straight.
I neglected to mention Benjamin Dahlia in that top 7 cars. You can actually see Benjamin Dahlia in that shot. He's a little bit by his lonesome sandwiched between these two 3-car battles.
He'd probably be... Oh, I do apologise.
He'd be happy with that.
He would be, yeah, he'd probably be pretty comfortable just sort of sitting there, not having to worry about someone right up his chuff and someone right on out of his front windscreen. Probably be happier if he was in that position and in first, but, you know, a boring fourth is better than a scared fifth.
Do you think Luke Rosella is just regrouping for another attack here? It hasn't quite been as close this lap, but he might start to think about where he's going to launch a surprise attack.
Oh, had a little bit of a look just to remind Kurt Stenberg that he was there going into turn 11. Oh, a little bit of a slide there.
Eyes are starting to scream. Remember, these two pit on the same lap, so there'll be no difference in their tyre age. Oh, computers.
So we're being told that it is time to restart to maintain our device security. Luckily, we don't care about our device's security. We just care about racing. And Luke Rosella is very, very close as they come down towards turn 2. Goes out for the inside and blocks Kurt Stenberg just a little bit at the apex.
Got his nose clear,
Fairly done.
No, he doesn't. Kurt Stenberg gets the better drive out of 2. Luke Rosella's going to have the inside still, and he's going to try and drive Kurt Stenberg out of road, but there is that little bit of grass he can bump across, but Kurt Stenberg has been relegated into 2nd place. As Colin Warwick, with a new set of tyres, did come in and come out at 13th place, set the fastest lap of the race.
Absolutely. Very, very well done there for Luke Rosella. I'm not going to wrap him up just yet. We've got 3 laps left to run. But he's looking like the quicker car. He's just not been able to stick the overtake. So can Kurt Stenberg, now that he's got a carrot in front of him, can Kurt Stenberg perhaps lift his game a little bit and retake that position? His tyres, you can see him squiggling a little bit there, just coming in through turn 12 and then down into turn 13. Tyres are starting to struggle just a little bit.
He had the better tyre life in the first race, where that ended up getting him the win when Colin Morris' tyres disappeared.
Got a lapped runner of, I'm not sure who that is, just in front of him.
Higginson. Nathan Higginson.
Oh, as Kurt Stenberg locks up and he's across, he is around. That is going to let Zach through and into 2nd place. Evasive manoeuvres for Kurt Stenberg as Zach Baker takes 2nd away from him. Very, very close that was. See a replay here. So I think he just got caught unawares by the closing speed he had and had to then just it's just got out of the way of Zach Baker.
Game, set, and match for the race win. I think Luke Rosella has a 2.3 second advantage on Zach Baker. This has been a really good night for Zach Baker.
Yeah, just that first race strategy call was perfect, and then he's just sort of been there and thereabouts all race this race, and it's paid off for him as Nathan Higginson just drifting into turn 11 there. Kurt Stenberg going to have to make this position to continue chasing after Zach Baker. I'll call it Stenberg to win, said Mr. Walshy a few laps ago. As we see,
oh, that was close.
That would have been a heart-raising moment for Zach Baker. And then Mr. Walshy saying, I've gone the early crow, I'm in astute company.
I never did it. I never did it. I never said that Kurt Stenberg was a dead cert for this race, because I knew that he had his hands full with Luke Rosella, and Luke Rosella definitely has earned his stripes tonight. He's going to have, well, let's try not to do it twice, but if he does manage to finish this race in 1st place, which is something that could happen, it could not happen.
Very well padded.
He would have 2 race wins tonight out of 2, and that would be his first lockout of a championship round at the Automobilista Supercars Championship, and it would be his 4th win.
And as you said earlier, it would be Kurt Stenberg's first round this season with no wins.
Yeah, which is hard to believe, really. It's been such a dominant championship run so far. Just counting up his wins: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 wins that Kurt Stenberg has had. So
and when he hasn't won, he's still in on the podium.
He still has a commanding grasp over the championship lead, and will continue to do so, with Luke Rosella down in 6th place at the moment. But I believe, well, that's 6th place going into tonight. I'm sure that he's already further ahead as a result of his win in race 1. And Colin Warwick now dropping quite a few points by finishing in 11th. That's definitely not due to pace. He's got the fastest lap of the race in this race, and he just got a little bit too eager on the loud pedal at the start of the race. Got a drive-through penalty for jumping the start. Have we got any other battles on track that we can enjoy? This is the last lap of the race. We'll try not to... actually, probably don't have time to look at any other battles because Luke Rosella is in the final sector now. Actually, no, he's not quite that far along in this final lap.
Yes, he is. Turn 11, going into turn 12. So
yeah, so let's pour the accolades on, shall we?
Yep. So I'm calling it Luke Rosella for the win as he comes around turn 13.
What a gamble.
Oh Jesus! For a second,
Flashing
there.
the lights in
Flashing the lights.
Good job there from Luke Rosella. Zach Baker's happy with 2nd place, and well, so he should be in 2nd place. Kurt Stenberg completes the podium that eluded him in the first race, and then Benjamin Daly with a solid 4th place finish ahead of Brody Steen, who did a terrific job holding off Damon Woods for so long, who seemed to drop away towards the end of that one. Good debut for Damon Woods there. Pace-wise, his teammate Dane Liccardo finishing behind him in 7th place. We've got Corey McFarlane finishing in 8th ahead of Lewis Wedding, who did a good job inside the top 10. Lachlan Burke will round out the top 10 for all Australian races in the 444 car there for Tamir. And Colin Warwick recovering to 11th place after that drive-through penalty. So that's a pretty commendable effort, I'd say, from Colin Warwick. Fastest lap of the race too. He was fast at the end. No, he wasn't. So good job there from Colin Warwick to grab that fastest lap. Termo in 13th. Tyron Wiseman in 14th, up 3 spots from where he started. RSM Latino off the back of the grid started 20.
I think Colin Warwick's run out of petrol.
And gets a push from his good mate RSM Latino, who finished in 15th place. David Nenadic, not his best round, but solid points for ZB, which is going to cement their position as the lead of the team's championship. So good job from David Nenadic as he does some celebratory crashes for our entertainment. Steve Warwick, father of the drive-through penalty getting Colin Warwick in 17th place. Nathan Higginson in 18th. Cameron Parrott in 19th, and Rody, good job finishing the race there in at 20th place. Looks like he's ready to join this conga line of cars which are pushing Colin Warwick home for this interesting post-race celebratory whatever it is.
Alex Cattle DNF.
Alex Cattle did DNF, and that rounds out the grid and the night.
Doesn't it just?
That was entertaining, wasn't it?
What a cracking pair of races. I'm stoked. That was everything that Townsville had sort of been hyped up to.
Yeah, so
in my mind,
worth the wait, would you say?
Absolutely. That first race was incredible. Yeah, my God, incredible strategy battle in the first race, and just very close, tight racing the entire way through for race number 2. Completely different battles in the end to end up with the podiums that we did, but very, very interesting regardless, and incredibly entertaining. And we had a lot of people joining us in the chat, which is always nice. A lot of back and forth and a lot of banter. So that's always nice to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely pleasure to have everyone joining us. We're waiting to see if we can have a chat with some of our podium sitters for those 2 races, which would be absolutely splendid. Keep an eye on the Apex Rear Wing Facebook page for news of what the plan is going forward with the championship with the next round, because I do believe the dates are going to change a little bit as a result of the real life supercars having to juggle their calendar around. So if you do want to keep abreast of that, jump onto the Apex Rear Wing Facebook channel, give us a bit of a like, and the information will go up on there, man, dude.
That is correct. And while you're at it, patreon.com/ApexRearWing takes a lot of time and effort, mostly from Stairs, to put these shows on. And if you like what we're doing, you know, any support you can give would be greatly appreciated. And also, Apex Rear Wing and Automobilista Supercars Championship on Facebook. And make sure you give us a subscribe here on YouTube as well, Automobilista Supercars Championship, and hit that like button as well. We would greatly appreciate it.
So a bit of a recap of the results for tonight. In the first race, Luke Rosella got the win on Colin Warwick after a dramatic tyre failure for Colin Warwick at the end. Just couldn't make those tyres last quite enough. It was short maybe a sector, and Luke Rosella got up there. Zach Baker getting the last spot on the podium after Kurt Stenberg fell away with his tyres in the first race there. And then in race number 2, it was Luke Rosella from Zach Baker, who managed to get the position on Kurt Stenberg, who had a spin at turn 2 towards the end of the race. So a great job from Luke Rosella. We've got some of our podium sitters starting to filter through into the chat, so we will have a bit of a chat with them. Mad Bird, who do you want to start with?
I've got Cole. I've got our good friend Colin Warwick, freshly back in the seat after being in a very different seat with, probably tubes and stuff last round. So welcome back, Cole. What a cracking first race for you to have back tonight.
Yeah, that was epic. That was all time. It's probably one of my favourite races I've ever done. The whole strategy and everything. I knew it was going to be a bit tight with fuel and tyres, and the way it played out was definitely not what I had planned in strategy. So trying to do strategy on the fly was really, really fun. I really love those races.
Yeah, it was very, very entertaining for us in the box. Not sure what was going to happen. Zach Baker being on a completely contra strategy, but he had such fresh tyres at the end. And was it just tyres at the end that fell off the cliff, or were you marginal on fuel as well?
It was the tyre. The left rear, when Luke passed me, I don't know, I think it's turn 10. And when he sort of bumped me off the road, it popped the left rear. So it was very marginal. I had to take it easy that last lap because there was no red bar left on the on the left rear. And so it was just the tyres really. Fuel I overfilled the car. I had 20 litres in, so there's a good 3 to 5 seconds there.
Yeah, we were saying that it's difficult to sort of do all that head maths while you're also trying to hit all your braking points and stuff. So it's very easy to do. And then in race number 2, you got a very good start, too good in fact, and got penalised for it. So a bit of a...
I'll have to bring up to the Supercars stewards why they held us so long on the line. That was longer than 7 seconds. But all good. It was a silly driver error, fresh back from the surgery, and it's good to get some racing under the belt now and can push forward.
Yeah, still podium in the first race you got to be pretty happy with. Stairs did wrap you up for the win with about 4 laps to go.
I'm sorry.
And and I said you probably shouldn't do that, and he said no, good point, fair cop. And then look what happened. So you've got someone to blame at least. But it's very good to see you back, and a very good first result back in race number 1, and hope to continue to see you on the podium in the future, mate.
Yeah, thanks guys. I just want to also say shout out to everyone who turned up tonight. That was a really good, strong field, and yeah, we definitely had to work for it tonight. Yeah,
absolutely, a fantastic field. Stairs, I think you have got one of the other podium sitters.
Yeah, let's have a bit of a chat to Kurt Stenberg. So it was the podium that eluded you in race 1 that you managed to get in race 2, but it wasn't quite your night tonight. You were in the thick of it, but the results probably didn't quite go the way you were hoping.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a mega fun night of racing, but it hasn't really gone to plan. I'll be honest. I feel like the car, we've got really good 1-lap speed and on the initial few laps, but we've just got absolutely no tyre life around this track. I don't know what it is, what's wrong with the setup, but you probably saw race 1 pit at the same time as Luke and Colin, and I still couldn't run with them at the same pace, and I still popped a tyre on the last lap way earlier than any of them. So yeah, it's something we're going to have to look at because we had a similar issue at Eden Valley, but this time it's really cost us.
Yeah, it's good to see that you've got to fight for it though. Still, it's you've had quite a dominant season, but you still picked up some good points tonight.
Yeah, exactly right. And like race 2, I made an error. I misjudged the Higo and Luke, and that was an error. I probably still could have been on to maybe win that race, but hey, third and sixth isn't too bad when you've had a bad night. And we started sixth in race 1, and with the level of competition tonight, like that was all time way above where it's been the last few rounds as far as having to work for it. Like, it's been really 1, 2, 3, 4 sort of has been, if you mess up, you're in that area. Tonight, if you make a mistake, you could have been outside the 10 if you really messed up qualifying. So it really put the pressure back on, and yeah, it was a bit of a wake-up call for myself.
Yeah, it's great to see the much larger field. It's good to see a qualifying session for a top 10 shootout to get into the shootout where more than 3 or 4 cars miss out. So you must be very proud as an admin. Lots of work behind the scenes, of course, by you and Cole to get this happening. So well done for that.
Exactly right, mate. We obviously people aren't aware there was no Super 2 run this week. You know, we're trying to boost numbers in the main game, get it going. It's the main series, and look, that just showed tonight. You know, some of those guys that are running in that series are basically on par with us if they put it together. So it's really good, and I'm glad we did it, and I hope we see everyone come back.
100%. Echo those sentiments entirely. Congratulations, Kurt, on your podium. And moving on to our race winner, I believe you've got alongside you in a virtual sense, Madbird.
Yeah, not alongside me in an actual sense, and if it was, it would definitely be at least 1.5 meters away from me. Luke Rosella, congratulations on a complete lockout tonight. 2 wins from 2 races, and the first time that Kurt Stenberg has not won a race in a round this season, and you denied him that, so very well done, Matt.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, the car was just absolutely phenomenal. You know, it was excellent on tyre life. Had pretty good 1-lap speed, and yeah, the race pace was really good. Yeah, race 1, like we need more of that. I mean, that you know, that strategy sense was brilliant, as Cole said. So yeah, with tyre life, I knew I could make it on tyre. Just I knew Cole had pitted a lap early, so I know he was going to charge sort of through Stenberg and catch me up a little bit. And yeah, it was a great battle towards the end. I could hear his engine. I knew he was conserving that rear tyre as much as he could. And yeah, he got past me, but I sort of knew, you know, he's pushed pretty hard here, so he's, you know, he might blow a tyre on the last lap. So I could conserve this a little bit while trying to maintain that gap behind him. And yeah, last lap, yeah, I apologise towards the end there because it was a pretty ambitious move, and I, you know, moved him off the track. So yeah, but might be looked at in the stewards, I don't know. But yeah, he blew a tyre as well. Yeah, when I passed him as well. But yeah, it was a good win. And race 2, yeah, had a good battle with Kurt. We were so close on pace that yeah, getting past him was quite hard. You know, I got towards the inside of him, and then you just get a better drive on the outside, so it was pretty frustrating. But eventually got past him, and he made a mistake, and yeah, got another win and got the lockout, which was really good.
Yeah, can't complain. Very, very nice close racing between yourself, Kurt Stenberg, and Damon Woods at the start of race number 2. That must have been some sweaty stuff.
Yeah, yeah, it was hard trying to get past Kurt, and it's even harder trying to keep Damon behind me because he had a really good pace, and he was, you know, looking to capitalise on if me and Kurt made a mistake. But yeah, this is the close racing. It's probably been, you know, it's been like that all season, and especially tonight, it's probably the most competitive overall field I've been in you know, in this series. So it was really good to see everyone come in.
Yeah, definitely.
And also, yeah, good to see Cole back as well. He's missed a few rounds because of his medical reasons, and yeah, it was good to see him back as well.
Yeah, completely agree with you, and absolutely, as Stairs said, echo your sentiments with the quality of the field tonight was fantastic, and it just goes to show you the cream still rises to the top, and tonight the cream was rainbow rosella coloured. It's a long bow, but I've drawn it. Congratulations, Luke, on your 2 wins tonight, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Well, Stairs, I apologise for you having to sit there and listen to me say that.
That was outstanding, method. As was the racing tonight. I was trying to think. There's been quite a few rounds this year where I've thought afterwards that's the best round we've had in ASC history. So that's the mark of a great series, and fantastic to see the numbers growing. Let's hope that continues going forwards, and very much looking forward to the next round.
Yeah, definitely. I am. But having not commentated or seen a race at Townsville before, that was a pretty good way to pop my cherry. So it's all downhill from here, or hopefully uphill. But a fantastic night of racing, great numbers, great racecraft all up and down the field, and some fantastic strategy in that first race especially. Just a complete night of racing.
Absolutely. So we will cap that complete night of racing right now. Thanks very much indeed to everyone watching along and commenting and contributing in the live chat. We really appreciate all of the engagement. It really makes it more fun from our side when you're all enjoying it and showing your enjoyment with the comments. So thanks for that. We will see you next time. Bye for now.
See you later.